to display their fine set of skills. A good opening stand will be the key here. Good show by the fielders. Timing excellent. Batsman in great form here, and that's another huge six. Racing over the edge as this corker of a game draws to a conclusion. That shot would have made me proud if I'd hit it.
Hello everyone, welcome to the ECPL Day 5. It's the last one of the round robins. My name is Harry Morton and I'm joined by Kashil Kachila in what is set to be a fantastic day of ECPL cricket. It all comes down to the last few, but before we do get into anything too big, for those of you who are joining us for the first time, this is just a little bit of a rundown how everything does go for this one. First of all, Googly.gg is proud to present the ECPL T20 2023 tournament. So it is the top 6 players from around the world who qualified, and they're competing in a 6-day-long double round robin tournament to determine the final 4 players going to the playoffs. We're in the final day of that. They're battling for both the prize pool, winning glory, and it is looking to be an absolute, well, I would say, top-of-the-line one as we look at the prize pool. 2 of our players, of course, will be going out today, both taking home 1,500 and 500 USD respectively. The last 4 that will go through to next week, 8,000 USD is the top prize on the line. Second is 5,000, 3,000 for third, and in fourth it will be a 2,000 USD prize pool to take home. So, Gajil, I've missed the last week or so, which is the day 3 and 4. I was a bit sick myself, but I have looked at the ladder, the leaderboard, one might say. It's gotten tight. There is pretty much anyone could be going home and anyone could be getting their way in towards finals.
Absolutely. First of all, welcome back, Harry. And as you mentioned, right, obviously it's become interesting, since the last time, we sort of commented together. We've seen some gamers sort of climb up the ladder. And then again, we've been also seeing certain key players like Danger Zone and Destroyer 3 wanting to cement the top 2, but still very much open. Obviously, the 6 matches today are going to determine who finishes top 4. I'm not going to pick on any favorites today, but really looking forward to an interesting day of games.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what makes today so good because, I mean, looking at the leaderboard, there really hasn't been anyone that's massively put themselves out there as the main man. I would say that probably if you want to take away possibly one of those, you maybe Danger Zone is sitting 6 and 3. He's pretty much locked himself in for finals. But before we talk about him, we've got to talk about, of course, our first game of the day, which is between, now that we mention it, Destroyer 3 and Tesha Mahara, 2 of the guys battling it out, trying to take themselves up in the top side of things. Destroyer 3, of course, 4 and 2 from his 6 games. And on the other side of things, Tesha Mahara is just behind him in 4 and 3. So both of these players, opportunities to basically lock themselves in to a second or third spot, especially on the other side of things there. With our first man, of course, Destroyer 3, sitting very nicely in second place. He's got 4 games to play today. A win from this one would almost have him locked in. You feel like 6 is the number you need to get to. He needs 2 out of those 4 today to get himself in the top 4. So plenty on the line for this first game, Kashil.
Absolutely. And, as you mentioned, right, it's 2 versus 3 as things stand on the table right now. Destroyer 3 has about 4 games to go still. And 6 would be the right number for him to sort of cement the top 4 spot.
Absolutely, and we look towards our second player, of course, the man that is sitting in third place at the moment, that is Tesha Mahara, 4 and 3. So he has another 3 games to go today to decide where he sits, if it's going to be in the top 4 or just outside. And again, this is where that first game becomes all important. He drops the first one, all of a sudden he's 4 and 4. The pressure then becomes he needs to at least, you feel like, get that 5-5 and then hope that the points go his way, because some of the players do have some, I wouldn't say great point differences. Tesha Mahara is probably one of the luckier ones in the sense he's -7, which is probably one of the least lowest out of that, which is a bit weird. I mean, the other side of things, Destroyer, he needs to make sure he does win the games because his points difference is sitting actually quite terribly. -70, actually at the worst. But when he's won the games, it's been good. It's been when he's lost is where he's suffered. So he just needs to make sure he keeps winning. Points difference won't come into effect. Tesha Mahara, same thing for him. He needs to get just the wins on the board, sitting right in the other ones there. It's looking to be an absolutely cracking first game and just a fantastic day 5 before we get set for finals, of course, next week.
Absolutely. Destroyer 3 obviously started very good, 4 wins, 4 games, but had a couple of back-to-back losses. So he just needs to find his way through, sort of get those 2 wins under the belt out of the remaining 4 matches for him. And obviously Tejas, right? He's been a revelation in the ECPL 2023. He started slow, but he's picked up pace. So really looking forward to it's going to be an even Stevens. If you talk about it from a matchup standpoint. Uh, um, you know, uh, players like Tejas, then again, Danger Zone. These are the guys who sort of started slow but have sort of picked up really well, and we're currently seeing them in the top four. All throughout the competition, right? We've seen some brilliant matches. So to say, and again, it's still wide open, right? If you see, let's say, Danger Zones already has 6 wins, but again, if you look at, second ranked Destroyer compared to a sixth ranked Raj, obviously the difference is only 1 win. So obviously, players on the bottom would be hoping that not only they win their remaining games, but also sort of results from other games sort of fall into their favor as well. So still wide open, in that sense. Points table is wide open. The playoff spots are still up for grabs. It is not as if any team has sort of cemented the top four spot yet. But again, the games today are going to tell a different story.
Yeah, absolutely. And you talk about sort of where people are sitting. I mean, Raj, who was sitting in last place, he's 3-6, has to kind of win his game today because he only has the one remaining. But his points difference is only sitting -6. It's in fact the best one besides Danger Zone, who's sitting on top, which is no way to think of. A man who's sitting on the bottom has a fantastic points difference. He just hasn't been able to win those close games, but he still has an opportunity, of course, if he gets his win in the game that'll be coming up later. We turn our attention, of course, to our first game of the day. It's looking to be an absolute corker. Teja Mahara has lost the cross there, so Destroyer will get a chance to pick. He's decided to bowl first in this one. It's second versus third, a chance to consolidate the top four spot and put themselves in the finals for either of these two. The loser, well, they get thrown back into the mix with everyone else below them. They may still find themselves on the outer. Remember, the top four through to finals next week. 5th and 6th will be eliminated, will take home their prizes of 500 and 1,500 USD. Well, this is day 1. Oh, I should say it's day 5. It's the first game. Cool. Take it away.
Absolutely. Obviously, one of the things that we've seen with Destroyer 3, is he's had a change in tactic ever since the tournament began, right? Initially, he was wanting to bat first, but now he's been wanting to bowl first after winning the toss and sort of setting up an aggressive field there. He's not concerned with giving those few boundaries or a couple of sixes here and there. He's setting up aggressive field, and then again he's wanting the opposition to sort of set up a score for him and then be able to chase that score comfortably. So he has his game plan set in that sense. He knows what what he's doing there. What is it that he wants to achieve, and I think it's working out well for him. His strategies. I would say. It's sort of he's been able to execute them, but again last 2 matches I think it's going to be very difficult, right? I think those 2 losses would be hurting him, and he would want he's itching to get back on, so itching to get back onto winning ways. So this match is going to really tell us about how he goes about his plans.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that just comes down to it is the executing of those plans is what's so important. If you're going to make sure that you do ball first, you want to try and take those early wickets as well, put the pressure on, as you said. He's not really fussed about giving up the boundaries there. I mean, we saw one of those shorter balls. That is one thing that we haven't seen a huge amount of. It's always been a lot of, full tosses, round leg, off stump, trying to sort of fake out a lot of the batsmen, maybe with some just different line lengths, and that's what they're going to try and do with these ones, of course. We're just going to do a quick restart of the server game there. So I believe Danger Zone will get back to bowling, but I don't think the first two games balls will count there. So we'll just get a reset, which I think is fair. I mean, one was a 6, one was a dot ball. I feel like it's pretty even for both players. I don't think there'll be much complaints there. As we now get ourselves, well, actually, no, we've gone through a full first over, I guess, because here we stand. So we've gotten back in, and the moment we get back in, it's another 6 off to the side there. And, well, I must say, Destroyer, 26 off that first over. And now, well, actually, I should say Destroyer was the one who was hit for 26 on that first over. Tesh Mahara, a pretty decent score. I mean, you're looking at that towards the 50 runs. That's usually where you're feeling pretty comfortable as the batting team.
The moment, again, commentators curse, right? Whenever we talk about a 50-plus score, obviously, the batting team sort of fell short of it. But then again, one of the things is obviously, getting just over that par score of 40, right? And I think at this point of time, Tejas, with 32 runs of 7 balls, is going to quite comfortably cross that par score of 40. And there we see, right? We've seen our first wicket go down, ball 8, and then again, here's another one. Good comeback, I would say, from Destroyer 3. Destroyer 3 has been somebody who's been able to post, 250 plus scores in the tournament so far. So I don't think he'll be too much about, somebody getting close to a 40-run mark. I think he'll take his chances, wanting to chase that score. But again, anything over 40 would, again, from a chasing standpoint, becomes difficult for the best of players out there as well, right? So
exactly. It only takes that one mistake for things to go a little bit wayward. As we see another boundary there, beautiful 4 over the top of cover as Destroyer. So he's given up 36, only 10 off this over, 2 wickets as well. So he's just stemmed the bleeding a little. Probably will stop Tesh Mahara getting to that 50 mark. Still though, 2 balls remaining in this one. Outside the off stump and a swing and a miss, and that is the perfect delivery. So essentially 3 dot balls in the over, 2 of them wickets. It's only 10 off it. It's been a fantastic comeback in the second over here from Destroyer. Gets this one around middle as well. He might even find himself another wicket, this one falling just a little short. It'll be a single to end. So 37 doesn't actually get to the 40 at all. I've got to say, Destroyer, considering what you said, where he's gotten those 2 50 scores or been able to chase down those big ones so far in this tournament, I think he'd be feeling pretty confident in getting this one done.
I think so too, but then again, as we've been speaking from day one, right? It is either about the dot balls that you bowl or the 6s that you hit that's going to win you matches. And at the same time, right, this was a brilliant comeback from Destroyer 3, having gone for 26 runs in the first 6 balls, then be able to come back and only concede 11 of the last 6. I think that's a brilliant way to come back from a bowling standpoint. I think he's going to take his chances here. He's going to go, all out there. I think he's going to go, hard from ball 1. And again, if he misses, a couple of balls and see, if Tejas is obviously able to get a couple of dot balls under the belt, I think that's going to put a lot of pressure on Destroyer 3. But again, if he's able to sail through, those initial 3 or 4 balls, I think he should be able to get there comfortably.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's exactly what they at least need to find there. I mean, that's it. Again, just having that confidence, whether you're the batsman or bowler, and getting those early boundaries or getting those early wickets, especially with Destroyer in this sand. I mean, as you said, look, he is changed tactics where he looks towards bowling first. And I feel like, especially if you do start well for that second innings of batting, then immediately, you see field changes from the bowling aspect of things. A lot of, the gears start turning in the head. Oh, what am I doing wrong here? Do I need to change line and length? Do I need to, put a few more men out? Do I need to bring men in? And it's just like something you might not be looking at. You make that mistake again, and you just keep getting those runs hit off you, and the confidence just keeps dropping and dropping until eventually you just find yourself pretty much out of the game after that first over. And we have seen that a couple of times where, just a first over rampage of 20 or 30 hit off, and then all of a sudden they only need 6 or 8 runs to win, and that's just pretty much game over, because even at your bowling best, you're going to find it very difficult to stop those two. But look, we've got the reason these players are second and third at the moment is that they've played fantastic cricket so far in the ECPL, and they'll be looking to do it here with this one. So I would not be saying that Tesh Mahara is gone with this one at all. Still very much in the game. 37 is still a decent amount to chase down. And on the other side of things, Destroyer, he'll feel confident to get the job done.
Absolutely. I think he's going to target a score of, somewhere between 20 to 25 in the first 6 balls. I think that's been the key, right? We've seen, whenever a team has been chasing runs, chasing a score close to a 40. I would say, whosoever has been able to get, except for I think a couple of cases, but whosoever has been able to put up 20 to 25 runs on the board after 6 balls has been able to get there comfortably. But at the same time, often we've also seen teams being put under a lot of pressure. So even if you have 30 runs on the board, and if you fold if you bowl those 3 or 4 dot balls in the first 6 balls, I think it becomes very difficult from that point on as well, to even chase down a score of 30. So I think the first 4 or 5 balls are going to be really crucial for both the players. It's tremendous pressure, both from a batting standpoint or, from a bowling standpoint in the second innings. Obviously, when you're bowling second, you want to get your field placements right. You don't want to concede boundaries. And if you're batting second, obviously save your wickets and try to hit as many boundaries as you can. So I think it's pretty simple, and I am both of these players, given that as you mentioned, both at second and third right now, they're there for the reason, and obviously as part of CPL, ECPL 2023, they've been showcasing their skills on why they deserve to be here. So obviously, really looking forward to how both of these players go about countering those 3 or 4 balls, both from a batting and bowling standpoint.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you said, they're second and third, and that's just for now because again, like one of these players loses, all of a sudden they're thrown back in towards that bottom 2 area where they're going to start feeling nervous, and that's on either side. So we're just getting a quick reset of the lobby at the moment, so we shouldn't be too far away from getting back into the action there. Once it does restart, it'll just be toss will be done. Tesh Mahara will put himself in to bowl. Danger Zone will be chasing towards the 36 or 38, I should be saying, that he's chasing for victory. So plenty on the line for this first game. I don't know if things have changed from last week where we had the tech issues. Look, I feel like most of the games that I've covered so far, we've been lucky with maybe 2 that have just gone straight through. No resyncs, nothing, no reset of the lobby. It's been beautifully fine, but that does what happen when you're on the other side of the world to where the other players are, unfortunately, in that aspect. But still, we're getting some. It just builds the tension, one might say, for the other games to come because you're just left on the edge of your seat.
Absolutely, and again, all of these players are also watching, right? But again, Harry, what do you think, right? You have 38. You have 38 runs on the board, and if you were destroyer 3, how would you have approached your batting here?
I feel like what you've said, just about finding those boundaries early. That's the key aspect. If he can get himself the 2 or 3 sixes off those, first, the first 2 or 3 balls in that aspect, he's definitely just going to put pressure on Tesh Mahara. And that's what he's going to be after. He just wants to build pressure early on, get himself in a winning position, look to get that 20 to 25 where he can then feel comfortable about just making those runs from there. Like, he doesn't need to go completely ridiculous in the second over. If he finds himself below the par mark, that's when things get interesting because that's when you go for a big shot. That's where you miss time a hit and all of a sudden, you're down pretty much, like you're 2 or 3 wickets down, you're chasing some runs with only 4 or 5 balls left, and you have to make sure everything's perfect. And that is, unfortunately, not a position you want to be in. So still a lot on the line for this one here. So it is going to be Tesh Mahara. He's chasing 38 for victory. Destroyer 3 needing to get himself, starting well with the ball here. Kashil, why don't you start us off here for our first game and our second of the 2 overs being bowled. Looks like we might have lost Kashil there for a second, so I guess we'll be taking over for myself here with this one. A sweep out to the leg side there. Mid-wicket, that's going to be just a single to start off, and that's what Tesh Mahara wants. He wants to just put the pressure on Destroyer early. Don't allow any of these boundaries, singles, dot balls, even just 2s or 3s. They're the perfect ones he wants to be under. Again, this one around towards middle stump. And again, Destroyer doesn't quite get the timing is after. Again, just another single. Only just 2 off the first 2 balls. And, if it was a normal cricket game or maybe a one-dayer, that's actually not a bad run rate. Unfortunately, he is chasing 38. So he needs to get himself going just a little bit more here with this one. Again, this is a nice change as well with the spin bowling. And, that's a no ball actually with that one. And a free hit. So Tej Mahara, he's done so well for this one. The spin approach as well, just 2 off the first couple, but now a no ball and a free hit. So Destroyer, he can go after this one. A 6 would be what he's looking for, and he does get the timing perfectly. So it turns into a 7 off the 1 ball there, and beautifully done from Destroyer 3. Gets himself right back on pace to chase this total, as we've got 9 off the first 2 now. The first 3 again, spin against the leg side, and just you can't have it too far out there. Another wide, another extra.
And again,
all of a sudden,
you know, you don't want to be cheating.
You're back this year. We got you. Yes, absolutely. On for there, but I mean, well, I know you were gone there for a second, but it's all just sort of. It was a great start from Tej Mahara, but just a few errant a few errant extras, and just like that, Destroyer's right back in this.
I think
no, he's back.
Yeah.
So you go ahead. Sorry, I thought we'd lost you again there.
No, I apologize for that. But I was actually, sort of watching the match there. Obviously, sort of keeping a track of the score. 13 off 6 balls, even after conceding a no ball. I was right through the match there, and a wide there as well. But then again, I would say it's Stevens slightly in favor of Tejas here so far, because we would have hoped to see with a score of 20-25 from there. He's been bowling really good. I think the strategy where bringing in left armour to a right-hand batsman, I think it always works. It creates that angle, and it becomes difficult for the batsman to pull. So obviously, from that standpoint, Tejas is putting a lot of pressure here on Destroyer. And as things stand, I think he'll be able to. Tejas will be able to pull it from here.
Yeah, no, he's got himself in a pretty awkward position, and a second wicket in a row as well. And you feel like this one is just about done. A beautiful bowling performance so far from Tej Mahara. Just sort of the one blip where he had those couple of no balls, and we also had a 6 in between them. And Destroyer has not been able to get going with the bat. And unfortunately, he's just looking like he's going to fall short on this one in the end by a fair margin. We talked about as well that point difference. He's at -70. He's the worst out of all the players, even though he's in second place. So when he's lost pretty big. And unfortunately, I think it's looking like it's going to happen again. He's now going to have to just try and get as many runs as possible. It's not happening, though, on a hat-trick now. Tej Mahara has shut this one down completely. And Destroyer 3, Kashil, he's going to be dropping in the standings after this first game.
I think, yes. Tejas is certainly going to climb up to that number 2 spot. And, 2 out of 3 wickets, I think, until the very last moment. Kind of that he wanted to. Obviously, I don't think you would expect that from a player who's second seeded in the tournament. He's still struggling to find boundaries and, easily finding the fielders there. And I think, 4 and 4, I think that's too much. Tejas has this in his bag now. I think he's going to move into the number 2 spot, and it's sort of going to be very easy for him to now sort of look at finishing in the top 4.
Absolutely. So Tej Mahara will move to 5 and 3. Destroyer will drop to 4 and 3 in the win-loss brackets. And, I mean, we could be on here for 6 wickets in an over. I mean, he's still trying to hit them, Destroyer, but he's just not getting the timing at all. This one, it's up in the air, but does drop a little bit short. So we're not going to get 6 wickets and finally some runs in this second over. This has just been a fantastic bowling performance from Tej Mahara. He'll take himself some decent, I should say, points difference as well. He'll get that moving very, very nicely, considering how well he's been able to contain this. The final shot, a sweep out into the leg side, picked up by the fielder. Destroyer will end there on just the 15. And what a performance. Tej Mahara, he moves into second place. 5 wins now after his, 8 games done. He's still got 2 to go. And he's taken 1 step closer towards securing a spot in the top 4 finals for next week. So on the other hand, Tejas, well, I mean, he's got himself a little bit of a problem. I mean, sitting where he's at, there is a bit to do there now. He's definitely not in huge danger just yet. Still 4-3. He still has that positive win, but I mean, Depti, Sanayaman, and also Raj even are still chasing behind, so he cannot take a wrong step with it, that one. And guys, well, before we do discuss any of that game and the games to follow, we are going to throw to a quick break. So when we return, we'll be discussing the results of match 1 and then moving in towards match number 2. We'll be back right after this.
The biggest party in sport is back. CPL and WCPL return with more action than ever before.
Are you kidding me? Ollie!
Watch the biggest names in cricket battle it out in the race for glory.
Brilliantly! Celebrate some more!
Get your tickets now at cplt20.com or at the box office. Join the party. Experience cricket played louder.
Hello guys, welcome back to the ECPL Day 5. We just got done with our first game of the day with some technical issues on both the game and also with Kajil as well with some bit in dropouts, but he is back with us now. And Kajil, we didn't really get a chance, unfortunately, because he dropped out just as the game finished to talk about that first game. But the winner, of course, was the man in himself, Tesh Mahara, getting the job done over Danger Zone. And it does actually, change a few things with the leaderboard as well. Well, I mean, what did you think after that first one?
Yes. As I've been mentioning, right, Tejas has been a revelation all throughout this ECPL 2023. For him to be able to sort of climb from number 5 on, at the start of day 2 to number 2 on day 5, I think that's a tremendous sort of improvement from where you started. And at the same time, right, the way he won the match, it was convincing. It wasn't as if, it was a close match. I think at one point of time, we were thinking if he was going to get 6 wickets in 6 balls, right? So, yeah. So, I think he's right up there. He's onto the number 2 spot. I think a win or two here would sort of cement his place, not only in the top 4, but in the top 2 as well.
Absolutely. So that was match 1 done. Danger Zone finds himself in a little bit of trouble as we now look towards our second game of the day. And, well, I should say Danger Zone, I do mean Destroyer. And he's back again with Iron Man 5-7-20. So he gets the chance to redeem himself pretty quickly against a man who is chasing him and is right behind at the moment. Iron Man 3-5. He was 0-5 when he did his first, well, I should say 0-4 after his first 4 games on day 1. He found himself in a lot of hot water. He's actually managed to even things out. He's 1-3, lost 1 since then. He has a chance to get to 4-5, give himself an opportunity to get to 5-5. That 5 wins is where he might be safe to get himself through into the top 4. But a loss all of a sudden, he will be down at 3-6. Be pretty difficult from there to get himself up, especially with that points difference as well. Well, it all really will come down to how things are put together there. But as it stands, I mean, looking at both of these players tonight, I mean, we just saw Destroyer 3 as well. How are you feeling, Kashil? Because you didn't want to pick favourites. You didn't want to take anyone to say, look, this person is going to get through. Out of these two today, at least for this match, especially after what we just saw from Destroyer, who might be taking this one?
I'm not going to pick anybody right now because obviously, until about day 2, Sain Yaman was 4 losses out of 4 games. Then again, he lost another one on day 3 as well. So he was 5-0, in terms of losses. But then again, he's won 3 on the trot then. So he has 3 wins from the last 3 games now. So momentum is on his side. And as we see, obviously Destroyer has lost 3 on the trot now. So from a momentum standpoint, obviously Sain Yaman has the momentum, and because he also wants to sort of cement the top 4 spot, I think that motivation should really drive him. At the same time, as for Destroyer 3, it's really about if I were Destroyer 3, the mindset that I would have right now is wanting to sort of even things out. I think he would want to change his strategy here, sort of try and see if he wins the toss. If he's able to bat first rather than bowl first. I think that the change of tactic might just help him. Just help himself. Change in results.
Yeah, absolutely. And whether or not he has that mentality to just switch things around now, I mean, after such a loss like that, if he went 4 wickets down on that second over in a row, it's very hard to try and switch that mentality of going from, a loss to getting that up for a win in the second game. But that's what he's got to do, because if he drops this, all of a sudden he's 4-4. He's dropped 4 in a row. So Iron Man has a chance to win 4 in a row himself. So it's all to play for in our second game of the day, which we'll be getting into fairly shortly. Look, I'm going to be honest. I am going to pick someone here, Kashil. I know you don't want to, but I think Iron Man, look, he was, as he said, 0-5. He was pretty much, he probably would have thought he was out. I'm done. And he has recovered fantastically. He's still got a bit of work to do, of course. He's got the 3 wins, but he's still with that 5 loss. A loss here is going to make it very difficult then to get into that top 4. But all of a sudden, the win, he's 4 in a row, and he can lock himself in with a spot in the finals, something that, as we were saying from the previous weeks, we did not think would even be a thing that we'd be talking about with him. But congratulations to Iron Man. Even if he manages to fall out today, he has done very well in the last couple of games. Get himself back into contention, give himself a chance for that bigger prize pool as we get ready now. Game number 2. The players locked in. The toss is going to be done from Destroyer. It'll be interesting here with Kashil if he goes for the bat or the bowl, considering what we saw from the previous one. I mean, he's saying he's been doing the bowling, but he's actually decided to bat first this time. So he has decided to change things up.
Absolutely. Whenever he's batted first in the tournament, we've seen a couple of 50-plus scores from him. And at the same time, Sain Yaman, in terms of his bowling, he's been right there. He's one of those players who bowls good line, and again, was not able to match that with his batting efforts in the initial days of the tournament. But then again, he's come back superbly, right? And then again, the last 3 matches that Sain Yaman has won, he was batting first. So this matchup in particular would be a challenge for him if he really wants to make the top 4. Bowling first, he bowls good, no doubt. But if he concedes anything more than, let's say, 30 or 35, I think it is going to be really difficult for him to sort of turn things around at that standpoint. So from what I've observed in the tournament so far, so I think Destroyer 3 here, carefree. When you back, he has that attitude. And again, we've seen that reflect in the kind of scores that he when he's batting first. We've seen 50 plus scores coming in from him. I think there have been 450 plus scores so far in the tournament, and 2 of them have been from him. So really looking forward to how he sort of goes about attacking here. And then again, quick doubles like those. There was a single there, but he sort of turned it into a double. So I think that carefree attitude, because he's batting first, I think that might just help him here.
And well, after a pretty poor batting performance in that previous game as well, he's turned it on to start this first over here. 14 already. He's equalled his score from that previous game. It's only 4 balls in to this first over. This one, though, doesn't quite get on top, but it's going to fall short of the fielder and still make its way to the rope. So not exactly what Destroyer 3 was trying to do with that one, but gets the boundary, finds himself some runs, and now sits at 18 after the 5, looking to get up towards that 20, but a beautiful last delivery from Sinai Man, and he strikes just to leave him stranded on the 18 runs after the first over. And I'd have to say, Destroyer, you're a little disappointed he couldn't get towards that, par 24, 25 in that first over you want to be putting up. I mean, 50 is the maximum. That's where you want to be. You feel like you're comfortable. But again, as we just saw, a 37 was plenty enough if you put in a decent bowling performance. Anywhere around that 40 mark as well. That's an Iron Man. Went for some boundaries there, Kashiel, but he did respond very nicely. We'll look at that last ball. Looking to try and get a couple here in this second over.
Yeah, and again, the highest score that we've seen a team chasing so far has been 39 in this tournament. No team has been able to chase, a score, of more than 39 runs so far. So I think from a mindset standpoint, he would want to, get closer to that mark of 39, 40 runs, for him to be able to sort of, have a positive momentum going on from, that no team has been able to do that and sort of, play with the mind of the opposition as well. So, but then again, things like those. I think he started off brilliantly, but then again, sort of that wicket sort of pulled him back a bit, there. And Saini Aman, I have no doubts, when it comes to Saini Aman and his bowling. I think it's his batting that sort of, lets him down, to be honest. But then again, so far so good, 24 of 8. I think if he's able to restrict, Destroyer to about, let's say, 6 runs in the next 4 balls, I think that will be a good score for him to sort of comfortably chase.
Yeah, no, absolutely. As we now, find ourselves in this second over. Destroyer was that boundary to start off with, but a wicket and 1 since then. And this one, it will get over the top. So a nice response there from Destroyer 3. It's just getting himself into a decent position here. 31, 2 balls remaining. So Iron Man wants to limit this as much as possible. Keep it around that 35. Below 40 would be what he's trying to find here. And a beautiful delivery. We'll make sure it is below that. And bold. We haven't seen many of those. A lot of LBW, a lot of courts. That one getting around the legs. A beautiful delivery there from Sinai Man. And that is Destroyer losing his second. Now 1 ball left in the over. The max he can get is 37. That's what he was left. Well, that's what he allowed his previous man he was up against, of course, in that other game, that being Tajaj Mahara. Sorry. Brain decided to stop working there. But last ball here of this innings. Looking to try and keep this one to below as much as possible. It's going to be below the 40, but it is going to be the 6 to finish. So it is going to be Destroyer 37. The exact same amount of runs we saw from Tajas in that first game. And that's what Sinai Man's going to be chasing here. Shahil, how did you view that one after the 2 overs there?
I think that's a brilliant comeback, in terms of to be able to score about 20 runs in the last 6 balls. I think that's a brilliant comeback from Destroyer. And I think batting first really helped him, right? Batting second, he was faltering through. He was finding fielders way too easily, and he was struggling to find boundaries. But here, I think key here for Saini Aman is to at least get 10 runs on the board in the first 3 balls, no matter how he does it. If it is either through couple of sixes, 3 boundaries, no matter what. But again, if he wants to have any kind of momentum in this match, I think he has to have at least 10 runs on the board in the first 3 balls because he's chasing 38, right? If you're looking at a score of, let's say, 4 runs in 3 balls, that leaves, too much for the last, back end of. It leaves too much for things to be done on the back end, and left too far to be done as well. So that's the way, right? That's the way. That's a great shot over long on from Saini Aman, and I think that's just the way that he wants to approach this game with. If he's able to get couple more of those, it'll put Destroyer 3 under tremendous pressure. And as we've been speaking about, right, Saini Aman has that momentum with him in terms of, winning matches. He's won 3-3 in the last 3 games. And I think he should only be able to capitalize on that, not think too much about that top 4 spot, at the moment, but only think about, how he's going to come on top of this particular game, And then again, these individual games are all building blocks to glory, right? So he needs to look at it, one game at a time. And, when it's the playoffs, obviously it's a different ball game altogether. But at this point of time, for him to sort of, overcome those notions of, faltering through midway through his innings, just like that, right? I think he has to overcome that, and this is a phase. This is the phase. The phase between ball 4 to ball 8 is the phase that Saini Aman needs to sort of navigate, because all throughout this tournament, this is where he's faltered between ball 4 and ball 8. He started off good. He somehow needs to sort of navigate these next 4 balls and at least get 16 runs on the board in the next 4.
That's what he'd be looking for. Unfortunately, he's not quite finding the boundary so far in this first over, just the 9 from it. And as you were saying, I mean, tonight, man, he's not been playing with a lot of pressure on himself, I would imagine. He was 0-5. He's got himself 3 wins in a row. But now, where he sort of is in that range where he can definitely get himself in towards the finals, maybe that pressure is just starting to creep back in here as a boundary to finish. So only the 12 off that over. Should say 13 for Sanai, man. So he's still got a lot of work to do in this second. It's going to have to start with some sixes. Destroyer, very solid first opening over there. This one wide outside the off stump taken away, and that's the perfect start for it. Second verse, same as the first. He got a 6 in the first over and a 6 in the second to start things off. He's on 19. He's requiring now 21 off the next few. Can he do this, Sahil?
He requires another 19 of the last 5 balls, and obviously this wide helps in terms of that. So I think he's looking at another 19, but I don't think those experimenting with those fancy shots at this point of time when you only have 4 balls remaining should really be his game plan. But shots like these would certainly help, but a dot ball or 2 would really make a difference here, right? Even if he is able to get 2 balls for maximums, that's only going to get him to about 37. But then again, he's missed on that opportunity, and good, a beautiful shot over long on here from Saini Aman. I think. Experimenting, on the 3rd ball of this over should not have been the case for him, because I think he gave away a dot ball there. Either it could have been a double or a boundary. I think it would have really helped his case. Come the last second or the last ball of the match. So I think a good comeback from Destroyer 3 here. He was itching to sort of overcome those. 3 losses on the trot, and we have a 5th win from him here. Saini Aman at the same time, he had a very good opportunity to sort of make inroads into the top 4. He's let it go away, and he's let it go away on his own. I think, to play shots when it was simply not required, right? The task was huge. You're at 19 of the first 7 balls. You require another 19 of the last 5. I don't think you would want to experiment too much in terms of the fancy shots, but play to your strengths. But I don't think Saini Aman capitalized on the opportunity that he had here.
Yeah, no, unfortunately, just not able to get things going in that first over. Too many dot balls, not enough boundaries. And unfortunately, he just left himself with too much to chase. So congratulations, Destroyer 3 takes the second game. He moves to 5 and 4 from his game so far. And now, well, I should say 5 and 3 from his game so far. Now, Sinaiman sits on the bottom of 3 and 6. He's going to have to win his last game and then rely on results to get in towards that top 4. And guys, we're going to throw to a quick break. When we return, we're going to be talking about game number 3 and discussing the implications of that and the effect on the scoreboard. After that, well, there's only 4 games to go before the round robin's done, and we start moving into finals next week. We'll be right back after this.
The biggest party in sport is back. CPL and WCPL return with more action than ever before.
Are you kidding me? Volley!
Watch the biggest names in cricket battle it out in the race for glory.
Celebrate some more!
Get your tickets now at cplt20.com or at the box office. Join the party. Experience cricket played louder.
Hello, guys. Welcome back to the ECPL day number 5. The finals are all here. I'm Harry Morton. I'm joined by Kashil Kachila. And, well, we saw our second game go down. Destroyer 3 bounced back from that loss in the first game today and has secured himself almost, you would imagine, a spot in that top 4. 5 and 3, 2 games left to go. And he just needs probably maybe one more win out of those 2. But even then, if he ends 5 and 5, he does on that even side of things. And especially with players sitting down below who are 3 and 6 now, 2 of those is one of them, Sinaiman, who lost that previous game. It's going to make make it very difficult for those guys to get up as we now look towards match number 3, the halfway point of today's. And we do have Tesha Mahara. Well, he's back. A win in the first game. He looked very solid. He's up against Raja Ryan, number 12. Raja is in one of those people who's sitting 3 and 6. It's going to be his last game of the round robin stage. He's going to be trying to get that win, trying to get the 4 and 6. He is sitting decently on the points difference. Kashil, what has he got to do to beat what we saw before? If Tesha Mahara does what he did in that first game, a very, very strong opponent.
I think Tejas is going to be my pick here. I don't want to I'm not being biased, but it's just about how you're approaching your game. And as I've been mentioning, right from the start of the day, Tejas has been a revelation in this tournament to be able to climb up the ladder and sort of be at the second position as things stand on the table right now. I think that's some way to go. Same can't be said about Raj, who started off good, had 2 wins in 2 games. And then again, only has had 1 win and 6 losses. So I don't know. Something's wrong. He might want to change a few things. Obviously, his inclination towards bowling first after winning the toss is something that he needs to change. Maybe as we saw for Destroyer, right, a changing tactic really helped him. So I think if he's able to sort of have that change in tactic, right from the toss, to be able to bat first, because what we've been seeing, right, teams who've been able to win the toss and have batted first, most of the times they've come out on top. And I think one of the reasons for them to be able to post a score of anywhere close to a 40 is because I don't think they have a target on mind, right? They do not have a target on mind that they have to chase. They're going to be the ones setting up the target. So I think that kind of a change would really help Raj here, because getting out of that mindset is also really important, that you're always going to chase down a particular score, and that's always going to put you under pressure. And I think this is the pressure here is something that Raj is struggling to deal with. I don't think there is any problem with this game as such, but I think it's the pressure that he's coping to he's struggling to cope with.
Well, exactly. I mean, also, you do think of the fact that, both of the players that are down in that 3 and 6 bracket, they are our youngest players in the tournament. Do you think that, age and experience does have a little bit to do with how some of the standings are sitting at the moment?
Yes and no. Yes, because obviously experience matters, and experience, obviously age is one factor, when you talk about experience. And no, because also the number of matches that you've played also should count as experience, right? So for you to be able to learn from the kind of experiences that you had, from the matches that you've played, I think that's experience. Not learning from it is your complete, your personal choice. But then again, you've had experience in that sense. So yes and no.
Absolutely. I think that's, well, again, we look at those sort of things where, maybe the more experienced players or the older players can take on board more from what they've seen, go through the players, and are able to sort of being able to change on the fly. And the younger ones, maybe they've still got some things to learn there, but we still look towards this third game with much anticipation. Again, a win here, I would say, from Tejash. That pretty much locks him into a top 4 spot. On the other hand, I think Raj dropped this one. It may be himself. No, man, it wasn't. And there for a second from our previous game, sort of anchored down towards those bottom 2. He's going to find things pretty difficult. In fact, I would say he needs to win this game. If he doesn't win this, he's pretty much out of the tournament. So there's a lot of pressure on Raj. Not so much on Tejesh. He's not locked in for a final spot, but he's in a better position. Raj, of course, if he drops this, Depty is sitting in 4th place at the moment. He's 4 and 5. So they need to, these players, they need to get at least up to that 4-win bracket, and then hope point differential goes in their favour as we look towards the toss on this one. Tesh Mahara is going to be doing some batting for this one. Raj will be on bowling. Get set for game number 3 here. And, Shahil, this is, Raj technically has it all to play for. Do you think that's going to be a factor here for this one? As we might just stop. We come back to us, of course. Well, we had a perfect no resync in the previous game, so we couldn't have 2 perfect games in a row. That'd be too easy for us. But, Raj, he's playing for his tournament here. If he loses this, he's out. Do you think that just adds the extra incentive for him to go a bit wild? Does it work in his favour or against? Does he try too many creative things to get on top, or does he just nail everything that we've seen that he's been able to do well so far this tournament?
From an opinion standpoint, I don't think no matter the result of this game, I don't think he'll be able to sort of finish the top 4, because the number of losses that he's had so far, I think it's going to be purely due to that, right? So, but again, if certain other results go in his way, in his favor, maybe there's an outside chance. but then again, nothing under his control. So, which is why I say that, it wouldn't really, obviously, any particular player who's playing. Any particular player who's playing the game would want to win, but then again, certain things are beyond your control, right? And that time, for him individually, from Raj's standpoint, individual game plan point of view has gone by, right? I think even if he wins this one, he would still have to rely on a lot of other results from different games of different gamers. So obviously, the motivation, I am just thinking, the kind of motivation sort of Raj is trying to derive here, right? And at the same time, the motivation is really high for Tejas to sort of cement that cement that spot in the playoffs. So I think it's more about motivation versus motivation here, and I think Tejas is carrying more weightage in terms of that compared to the kind of motivation Raj has at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the thing. Does Raj even thinking that he can still make it? Because as you said, he's had those losses. I mean, 3-6. He needs to win this one just to stay at chance. I mean, even if he wins, he's going to be relying on other players to basically lose their games, and that really comes down to Depty and Destroyer at this point. Well, actually, it really is just left to Depty, because if Depty wins his game, which will be coming up later, he pretty much locks himself in, because he gets to that 5, which is going to be where most players will get to that safety, because now Sanaya Man sits at 3-6, Raj is 3-6 in the moment. He's got an opportunity at least to get to that 4, and then he's got there basically Sanaya Man and Raj are relying on Deepty to lose his game. That happens, all of a sudden things become very interesting down the bottom, and then our top 4 would be pretty much close to locked in. We have got the restart for our game going, so toss will be put through again. So he's not out of it, Raj, but everything needs to go right this game, and then he needs other matches to fall in his favour as well. As the toss going through just now, it'll be Tej Mahara who has won the toss. He will bat first. Raj will do the bowling, and at this one getting locked in. We're at the halfway point of the day. Sahil, well, this is it's make or break for Raj. This is looking to be, hopefully, an exciting and close game.
Absolutely, and then again, as you mentioned about, anybody from Deepti, Raj or Saini Aman wanting to make the top 4, I think there's only one place that's up for grabs. Because really, I think we're not going to see any change. I think the top 3 at this point of time are going to qualify for the playoffs. Maybe the chronology changes for them. I think it's more about who finishes first, second, and third. But again, if you talk about from a qualification to playoff standpoint, I think at this point of time there's only one place up for grabs. And there are 3 players who are looking to grab that 4th spot. And obviously Raj happens to be one of them. So obviously he has to win this one, and then again expect other games to go in his favor as well.
He does, and already it's not the start he was after. First ball, a 6. Tej Mahara, he wants to put himself in. He wants to put this one together, and that is going to be a wide call on that one. Moving to the bowler. Thought he might get away with that, considering he did go over the top of pretty much middle there, but it just started a bit wide. Also the batsman moving across, and so technically it's 7 off 1 ball. Raj just goes in, decides to change a couple of things with his field. This one wide outside that off stump into the pad. So a nice response there with the dot ball. That's what he's going to be after. And you can see there a lot of players have sort of signalled their intentions early with a lot of movement around with the ball. You can see Raj's one is here as he just sort of puts it in different positions. He doesn't like to keep things together. He likes to sort of get in the batsman's head, and it could work out there, but unfortunately just short of the field as it bounces over everyone to read to the boundary for 4. So Tej Mahara, 11 off those first ones there, looking very nice. And now Raj, he's going to be doing a complete reset of the field there, Sahil.
Absolutely, putting on a fielder at that deep mid wicket. Obviously, he conceded a boundary there, so I think he's trying to be cautious at this point of time. But then again, 11 of 3. I think that's a good start on Tejas' standpoint. but Raj would be looking to sort of restrict Tejas to I think to below 20 runs here. But I don't I personally think that Tejas here is going to go all out, right? I don't think there's anything that's going to stop him because obviously he somewhere has a sense that he's already qualified for the playoffs and now he's wanting to finish in the top two. So he's carefree at this point of time. His mindset is pretty relaxed. He's pretty relaxed. So he's pretty relaxed at this point. So it's really going to be about how much of a score he's going to put up on the put up on the board. So but I'm at the same time, Raj again, even coming into this match, he's under a lot of pressure because not only he has to win, but then again also rely on certain external factors beyond his control to go his way as well. So too much at stake at Raj, too much at stake for Raj at this point. But at the same time, really looking forward to Tejas sort of, playing with that carefree attitude, wanting to see how much of a score he's able to put up on the board. And then sort of have, then sort of playing with Raj's head a bit there because obviously even he understands as a opposition player as well, the kind of pressure that Raj is into.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's just the thing, it's pressure. I mean, and it's more towards whether each player can handle on that side. I feel like from what we've seen from Tejas Mahara, of course, through all these 8 games and even that first game today where he was second and third, there was pressure on that one, because the winner was one step closer to locking themselves into a top spot. The loser, all of a sudden, they were stuck on the 4 wins. They're back down to below to where those other ones are chasing. So he handled that well with bowling and fantastic batting. Was off to a decent start here. We did just lose the resync with that one, so we'll be back with the game shortly, we do hope. In the meantime, though, well, we've also got, after this one, another 3 games to go from today. And if anyone is joining for the first time as well, current standings as they do sit, just from reading off the ones here, Danger Zone is in first place with 6 and 3 wins. Tejas Mahara is in this game currently 5 and 3, looking to make that 6 and 3, lock in a top 4 spot. Destroyer is now third, 5 and 3 after that win in the previous game. Deputy is 4 and 5. He's got 1 game today. A win would pretty much lock him in. And then Raj and Snyman 5th and 6th respectively. Both are 3 and 6, and wins will give them 4 and 6. And they'll have to rely though on other results to get through there, as we are getting a reset of the game. So I think both players will just get back to where we start again. I feel like I'd be a little bit annoyed if I was Tejas, because he did get off to a pretty nice start in those first 4 balls. At the same time, though, he now knows what he's sort of facing in the bowling side of things. As I was saying, I mean, you did that scrambled sort of pick with the bowling, which we haven't seen from a lot of players. And it can work sometimes to an extent, I feel. But unfortunately, here we do see once you hit maybe with that sort of, random spot you're putting it at, if you get the wrong length and line, you're just going to get battered every single time.
I from Tejas's standpoint, I don't think he would really mind, because let's look at it like this, right? He somewhere has the sense that he's qualified for the playoffs. Now the two odd remaining matches for him should be, sort of, to get some game time under his belt before he sort of, goes into the playoffs. So I think, there's no pressure. There's no pressure there, and I certainly don't think that we're going to see any differentiated approach, on how he sort of went about his batting. Both the times it resynced. So let's sort of see, obviously, because things are different for both the players here. And obviously, these are opportunities for Raj to sort of change his tactic, to opt to bat first. But then again, certain times he wins the toss, he elects to ball first, and just when he's thinking of sort of changing the tactic, or maybe potentially thinking of changing the tactic, the opposition wins the toss and then sort of let's Raj be under that sort of a pressure of having to bowl again, having to bowl first. So they've sort of made a comfortable way. They've sort of found a comfortable way to navigate that particular aspect of Raj's game. I think it worked out brilliantly for him on day one. But then again, as things stand, and as on day 5, I think players have figured out. Players have figured out his game plan, his tactics, and everything. So and then shots like that, coming down the track, coming down the track, hitting the ball, to the long on area. I think that just shows the mindset and the approach, Tejas has at this point.
Absolutely. So, well, as we can see, we had a perfect no tech issue game in the second, and then we've decided, of course, now for game 3, we're going to have all the tech issues possible. Just for this one, again, we've got some just little problems with the resync and getting the players reset for that one. Hopefully, won't be too far off. Continuing into this game 3. In the meantime, though, we look towards, the other games we've still got to come up as well. We do have, of course, Destroyer and Deepti will follow this one. And that will be important as well, just because we see Destroyer for the 3rd time today, his chance to lock away that one. And Deepti wins that game. He pretty much gets himself locked into the top 4 as well, which means that it'll just come down to positioning for finals and how everyone plays off, because 1st versus 4th, 2nd versus 3rd, how you want to be starting each one's there. Then after that, it'll be Tej Mahar versus Sanaya Man in another for game 5. A close one. And the final game of the day, of course, will be between Danger Zone and Destroyer 3 for that side there. So still plenty of action with that one. But at the time being, we're just getting the things reset there. I don't think we'll be going to break at the moment. We're just waiting for the other ones to come back in. Hopefully, the tech issues will go away. I wasn't actually here for day 3 and 4. How were the tech issues from last week, Shahil? Because I missed those days, of course.
I think we hardly had any, day 3 and 4. I think games were pretty smooth. And then again, obviously, given that I was so much involved into the games that were happening, given that I was also involved so much into the games that were happening, the flair with which they were happening, I think once or twice, but I think we had smooth run of things. And obviously, we saw some great games from Destroyer on day 3, and some brilliant games from Danger Zone on day 4. But all in all, I think day 3 and 4 sort of lived up to the hype. Also built on the hype further, from what we saw on day 1 and day 2. So yeah, and then again, as I mentioned, Tejas across both those days, day 3 and 4. Had been a revelation. So day 1 and 2, when we were initially sort of, talking about Tejas, I think he was a slow starter. He was right there, on the number 5th spot. But day 3 and 4 sort of turned things, things turned around him for things turned around him. Things turned around for him. My bad. Because there's a reason I'm saying, right? He's a revelation, and then the kind of approach that I've seen from him so far, I think it sort of resonates with the point of resonates your point of experience, right? Age sort of bringing in that experience. So I think he's calm, composed there, with regards to how he wants to approach his game, how he wants to plan things out. But he's certainly been a revelation, and obviously, no matter how much he progresses in the tournament, I think the way he's turned it around from what we saw of him on the first day, I think it's going to make it really interesting if he finishes in the top 2 and sort of wins that first qualifier, making it to the finals. So really looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's been sort of the great thing we've seen throughout this tournament is that, nothing has really been set in stone. There's been no huge dominant force. Everyone has been on the end of losses, and everyone is vulnerable to make mistakes, and that's what makes it so fun. And Well, I mean, as you're saying, day 3 and 4, there weren't many tech issues. Maybe I'm the problem. I must be the curse because, I mean, we had a couple on day 1 and 2. And, well, as I said, we had game 2. It was smooth sailing, and then everything has all gone a little bit haywire since then. But as we look ahead, of course, to the rest of the day, I mean, as you were saying, the qualifiers, of course, that come in with finals and how that all sort of plays into effect because you want to try and get those top 2 spots in that one because you do have the better chance to get through towards the finals and then have a chance to sort of reset. You get to watch the semi. You get to study, again, so much more of your opponent and really lock into what you're going to do in that sense. So having the time and having the preparation is going to be key for a lot of these as we are back into the game. 3rd time's the charm, hopefully, for match number 3. Trying to get this one underway once again. What will be going up? I believe it should be again. Tish Mahara will select that. That doesn't really happen the first 2 times. The goal. We're ready to do this. Heal for the 3rd time. Anyway, let's put this match number 4 on the way.
Absolutely. I don't think we're going to see any kind of a different approach from Tejas. I think it's pretty clear he wants to have some game time under the belt before sort of starting to play in the playoffs. So I don't think anything would matter to him at this point of time. He's just going to go out there, play a carefree game, and sort of show us what he's all about. He's been a revelation up until this point of time, and he's going to exactly show us what is it that he has for us in his bag. So I think we are going to see an aggressive sort of an approach from him, and at the same time just really hope that Raj is able to put some kind of a pressure on him, able to put some kind of a check on him. That's a very good way to start bowling the first ball as dot, but you still have about 11 balls to go.
Exactly, and that one's actually a fantastic delivery in the end. It looked like it might be caught a wide, but it stays just inside the wide line. So Raj, the 3rd time around, he's actually getting his bowling starting off pretty well here, and there might even be a wicket, and this is the perfect start. Raja Ryan has got himself off to a flyer, 2 balls, a wicket, and all of a sudden, Tish Mahara, a man that we saw, he did have a couple of struggles in that first game, still made a very solid 37, but he's got some work to do after, well, 3 balls, a wicket. And he's only got 9 balls remaining to put up a decent score here, Sahil.
Absolutely. But again, even if he's able to get, let's say, about anything between a 25-30, which is still very much possible, I think that's still a pretty good score for Tejas to defend.
And it is. And oh no, that is possibly a misclick. Tried to go for that 2nd run there when it just was not on at all. And another wicket just like that. And he's 2 down. Raja Ryan, he has got himself in a fantastic spot here. What a turnaround this has been. Just from where we were talking about this one, Tasha Mahara, we're all talking about the batting. We're saying Raja, he hadn't quite gotten things right with the bowling a few times. And again, he still has to bat, and there's still balls left in this one. But so far, he has been completely on song. And it might even be another one just drops short of the fielder. And again, it'll just be another single. So only 2 runs, 2 wickets taken. What a fantastic first over it has been here for Raja Ryan here.
And again, I think that's a little extra motivation for Tejas. We had been talking about motivation, but Raj here is proving me wrong. He's showing us, the kind of the weightage that his motivation has here. Because to start an over like that, right? Having 2 wickets and 4 balls, only considered 1. Obviously, there was a 6 hit on the last ball, but I would still anyway, any day take 8 runs of 6 balls, and I think that's a brilliant way to start the 2nd over as well. A score sort of as it reads right now, it's 7 balls, 9 runs for the loss of 2 wickets, and I think what Raj is trying to do here is not wanting Tejas to get away with the game and is wanting to restrict him. As things stand, I think he would want to restrict him to something below 20 here.
And you might do that. 2 dot balls in a row, both striking the pad just like that. 2 for 9, 3 balls remaining. And we've been so accustomed to seeing some massive scores off batting from all players so far in this game and from all the games we've seen over the 5 days, but we haven't seen too many knockovers, especially in first innings. Tesh Mahara has not even gotten to double digits yet. Raja Ryan takes another wicket. And this has just been a massive turnaround. We're talking, I mean, this is second versus fifth, or essentially the man sitting on the bottom. And Raja, he has put himself in the box seat to take himself to 4 and 6 after 10 games. He still has to rely on Deepti to lose his, but he's given it absolutely everything to get himself in a position to at least get into the finals. Again, just another single, and we're finally into double digits, but just 10 off it. This is going below 6 and over. 3 wickets in it. Last ball of this first inning. This one around towards the off stump. It's flicked up in the air, not timed at all, and make it 4. What a bowling performance. Raja Ryan restricts Mahara to just 10, takes 4 wickets off the 12 balls bowled, and he just has to get up to 11 runs in just the 12 balls here. Doesn't have to do anything ridiculous. Sahil, what a performance.
Absolutely, and this is the Raj that we saw on day one, right, when he had those 2 wins. I think at that point of time, what we saw from him was also, him restricting opposition to, 6 runs in the entire 12 balls. So I think this is that kind of a performance, and to be able to do that against, the second-ranked player, I think that's going to give him a lot of confidence from here on. This should be a comfortable chase for him. No second thoughts about it. But Tejas would be really disappointed here. Maybe, if I were Tejas, I would be thinking, could have I approached this game any differently from, the way I approached it right now? Or, things would have still been the same. But I think the answer is pretty obvious, right? To only have about 10 runs on the board in 12 balls, that's not even run a ball. So I think Tejas here would certainly be very disappointed.
Yeah, no, it's really just, it's kind of shocking in a sense just how things have turned out. It really is just bizarre to think of how things have gone there. And again, all credit goes towards Raja. He's just put on a fantastic performance. You can't really ask for much more from a bowling standpoint. I mean, 4 wickets, only allowing 10 runs. It's perfect, economical. The strike force was there. And it's just a fantastic one to go off. And, well, it may have been too late. Even if he does get this win, he's still, relying on other results to get in towards that top 4. But, I mean, he comes back to this one next year if he does have that opportunity. He definitely knows, at least going away, that he can challenge towards the top players. And for a guy who knocked off the 3rd best just behind him, Tesh Mahara, he's, he's got to be scratching his head a bit. I mean, look, he's allowed an off game. It does happen, but you'd rather this happens now on day 5 than when it comes to day 6 in the finals. You don't want to be giving up anything like that. So we are just getting a bit of a reset with the game. We'll be back in with that second half in just a second. But Kashil, I mean, looking at that one, look, the run, it seems inevitable how it's going to go. But again, we could see Raja, he could fumble a little bit, and it just takes a little bit of pressure, a few wickets, a little bit of pressure. You don't hit a boundary early on. Things can happen. It seems unlikely, of course, when you're chasing just the 10 runs. But, I mean, he, again, we've seen stranger things happen. A lot of times when we thought, 20 runs wasn't much to chase and players have struggled. Surely it wouldn't be a drop.
Yes, obviously, things can happen, but I don't think they're happening today. At least in this particular match, because as things stands, obviously you're 2 hits away from the win, right? 10 runs is not even run a ball. So, from that standpoint, I don't think it should not be that hard of a thing for Raj to sort of, finish off. I think, even if this happens to be his last game in ECPL 2023, I think he would want to finish on a high, and there's no better way to do it. There's no better way to go. Obviously, we're not saying that he's out of the tournament yet, because obviously there's that 4th spot still up for grab in terms of qualifying for the playoffs. But again, as we've been mentioning all along, certain other results would have to go his way. But no better way if this happens to be his last match in the tournament to sort of finish out on a winning note.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and that. Well, I mean, that's the thing. You want to finish off on a high, even if you are not going to make it through. And he's definitely done that so far in the first half of this game 3. Can he finish it off? He just needs the 10 runs. But, cricket's a funny game. Things can definitely happen if they, don't fall the right way for you. So we've still got that one to fall through. Of course, we've also got the 3 games to follow this one. As we're just getting that secondary one set back up. Should be back in fairly shortly. I mean, look, we could look a little bit further towards, next week. And, this is when things start to get a little bit guessy and you start doing predictions and you probably get egg in your face for a lot of them. But say that we have that top 4. You've got Danger Zone, you've got Suggest, you've got Destroyer. We'll say Depty does make it through. I mean, because, again, you said you didn't want to do predictions for at least today. But going to next week, out of those 4, do a favourite out of those?
I would say Deepthi because obviously your question was, who's going to take that 4th spot, right?
Oh, I was going to say who was going to win out of those 4, but I'd say Deepthi will definitely taste that 4th spot if he gets that first one.
Yeah,
through.
so obviously, yeah. So obviously, Deepthi, if he's able to take that 4th spot, I think it's going to be pretty close between Danger Zone and Tejas. If I were to talk about, who's going to win it, because initially I thought, obviously Destroyer 3 with the way he approached his game in the initial 4 games, I think he was a clear favorite for me. But I think it's going to be somebody between Tejas and Danger Zone at this point for me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's look, it all comes down to whether it's those ones, whether or not you do find that slight dip. And that's the thing. It more becomes that it's Deepty's spot to give up, in the essence that that final game comes towards. But Raj is he's going to be going to 4 and 6. He's going to be right on him. And that means it's just more pressure for Deepty, who was watching this one. He was hoping Tajesh was just going to win the game. He gets that 4th spot. He doesn't have to worry about the next one. He can sort of just do whatever for those and just, cruise through the next one. But now it's all sort of up in the air because most likely it's going to be, of course, Tajesh dropping this game. Gets himself to 4 and 6. He just remains in that close one. And all of a sudden, Deepty 25 finds himself with a bit of work to do. And considering he's actually going to be playing a pretty decent opponent as well, and that is Destroyer 3, it's going to make it all the more difficult. But guys, while we do fix a couple of things on our end, we are going to throw to a quick break when we return the end of match 3. And we'll start getting into our second half of the games as well. We'll be back right after this.
The biggest party in sport is back. CPL and WCPL return with more action than ever before.
Are you kidding me?
Watch the biggest names in cricket battle it out in the race for glory.
Celebrate some more!
Get your tickets now at cplt20.com or at the box office. Join the party. Experience cricket played louder.
2023. We're in the middle of match 3. My name is Harry Morton. I'm joined by Kachila. And, well, so far, we had a perfect game 2. We're struggling a couple of tech issues with game 3 at the moment. Hopefully we'll be close to finishing this one off, and then we will be moving into our last 3 games of day 5. Of course, this day is the final ones for the round robins. Next week, day 6, will be the finals. There's money, big prize pool on the line, and also the bragging rights to take away first place for the first ECPL tournament. And Kashil, well, it's been a bit of we weren't expecting this game to be going for so long, but I mean, these things do happen. Of course, we are doing this broadcast at least remotely from where we are. It's on the other side of the world, and New Zealand all the way going up to India. It does make things a bit more difficult, I should say, yes, on that side. Well, we saw 2 starts, 2 decent batting games, didn't quite connect through, and Raj Ryan, he came back in the 3rd game. He's trying to keep his tournament alive and restricting Kashil to just 10 runs off his, 2 overs that he had faced. It was a pretty good performance.
Yeah, and as we were talking about, he's just 2 hits away from winning the game. And I think he would want to certainly sort of, we are also very much looking forward to sort of him wrapping up the game quickly. Because obviously, that's not much big of a score for him to chase down. And again, obviously, there's no pressure as well if you look at it from that standpoint, right? So obviously, he would want to sort of get this game under the belt. Obviously keep his hopes for a fourth place playoff spot alive. But again, as soon as we come back on. Tejas, if at all, if there's even a slim chance of him sort of sailing through, I think he would have to better the 4 wickets that we saw in 4 balls, right? I think he would have to have 6 wickets in 6 balls here, and I think we would see some new kind of a record, being set up for that to happen. So we've actually seen 6 sixes, we've actually seen 5 sixes, we've actually seen 4 wickets, but we've never seen 6 wickets in 6 balls. So if at all any chance for Tejas to sort of come out on top of this match, I think he has to have 6 wickets in 6 balls. Very less likely, but not impossible. Let's sort of look forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, as they say, it's not over till the fat lady sings. There's still plenty to do with these ones. It could be over in the space of 3 balls, or we could be halfway through the second over. And Raj could find himself in some real big trouble, but he's only got 11 to make off 12 balls. Mahara needs to bowl him out very well. He needs to put on one of the best bowling performances we've seen all tournament. I do think the 10 that was made off is maybe one of the lowest we've seen in the first innings. You would need to restrict him even lower than that. It's got to be 9 or below for an outright win. 10 would make it a draw, and from there, well, things would get very, very interesting. But Raja, all he needs 1 6 and 1 4. That's the game. He goes to 4 and 6 from his 10. He keeps himself alive, and then he'll rely on other results to possibly get himself into the finals. The top 4, of course, playing off for the major prize pool. 2 of our players will be departing from today as we get themselves pretty much almost set for this one here. A slight resync as we do just come back to us again. It's the game that will never start or will never end here, Sahil.
I have nothing to speak about at this point. Obviously, we can't do much about the tech part of it. Obviously, we would love to see, games sailing through smoothly, and which is what has been happening so far. But then again, sometimes it's just beyond our control, in terms of the tech issues. But I think we have the game going on now. We have 1 run scored of 1 ball. And I think, that's majority of the runs already scored from Raj here. I think he's looking at 4 runs to win from the remaining 10 balls that he has. And I think he would want to finish it in the next couple of balls, so to say. But yeah, obviously, even if at all, that point difference, and then again, if you are sort of tied up for the 4th spot with, let's say, a Deepti or a Saini Aman, I think the faster you're able to finish the game, I think that's also something that's going to really come into play. Uh, if Deepti sort of goes on to lose the last match that he has, or also sort of lose, because we are all talking about other results also going into somebody's favor, right? We're talking about Raj's scenario right now. Again, when we come across Saini Aman's games or Deepti's games, we're also going to talk about what are the kind of results that they would want to go in their favor. So, but then I think if I was Raj, I would want to sort of finish it, let's say, in 6 balls. So that still gives me about 2 balls and 2 runs to get. I don't think that should be a pretty hard task for him at this point.
No, it isn't. And with that boundary, those are the runs made there. And Raj, he's taken the game. We've had to do the restarts. We've gone through a couple of innings. It's been back and forth all the way through. But he finally will get the job done. And he does it in the space of 5 balls, a 6 and a 4, a couple of others through there. And he stays alive, moves himself to 4 and 6. Tashmahara, unfortunately, not what he was looking for in that game there. And he is sitting now at the 5 and 4 mark. Still, he's locking himself pretty close in towards finals. But, I mean, that's some flaws pretty much picked up there from Raja, and it's shown it probably to the rest of the players who will be around that towards top 4 game. What they need to do to beat that man, Rajara. He completes his 10. He goes 4 and 6. Congratulations on a fantastic final game there and a great bowling performance. But now he's got to rely on other results to go his way, Sahil. Otherwise, we will be, well, that's probably the last time we have seen him in this tournament for the ECPL 2023.
Absolutely. And again, if this was actually his last game, if the other results don't go his way, I think that was a good way to go. And at the same time, Tejas would really want to get back on track here, because I think that's too much experimentation at this point of time. I don't think he would want to experiment the way he just did in the last match, right? So I think he would still want to, cement that top 2 position. I think that's still up for grabs. I think nothing's for granted here, and I think he should definitely come in hard for the next game.
Yeah, absolutely. Still one more that he's got to play through as we now look towards game number 4, no break. We're going to start flying through a couple here, and we're back with this one. And, well, this is sort of where this is all comes to fruition. Destroyer 3, he's got his top 4 spot locked in, but Deepti 25, he now has the opportunity to do that himself, to join Destroyer up in towards that top 4. A loss, and then things start to get really interesting, because he will fall to 4 and 6, the exact same as Raj. But then it all comes down to points difference and how everything works from there. There is so much on the line for this game. I mean, Sahil, how are we going to look through this one? I mean, Deepti's been an interesting one. Very up and down through a lot of his games. It feels like he's on top of it big time. We've seen massive scores from him, great bowling performances, and then he just has that slip and concentration. He's dropped a few here and there. And he finds himself in the position where this is basically he needs to win, just to make sure, just to make it certain that he's through to the finals.
Yeah, he's had a tournament so far, but again, a win here would certainly sort of remove any hopes that Raj or Saini Aman would have, in terms of qualifying for the top 4 spot. But at the same time, if we talk about, Destroyer 3, I think, the top 2 spot is also something that's of very much interest here, right? Because that gives you a couple of opportunities to sort of make it to the finals there. If you, given that we have a playoff kind of a format. But again, I think what would Deepti would certainly be under a lot of pressure here, because not only is he looking to sort of cement the top 4 spot, but at the same time, give himself some kind of an opportunity to sort of, get into get into the business end of the things. When we talk about ECPL 2023. So really looking forward to sort of of how Deepti sort of goes about his game. I'm really sort of very much interested because this particular game is going to exactly tell us who stays in the competition, who doesn't. Because if Deepti wins, we would have couple of players like Raj or Senyaman, sort of moving out of the tournament because that would take Deepti to 5 wins. And even with a win, I think the best Sainiaman could sort of finish would be with 4 wins. So this game sort of has that kind of that kind of a equation in balance as well. That if Deepti was to win, I think we know who our top 4 would be. And then again, if Deepti was to lose, I think the last 3 games, with Sainiaman having a game in hand, would really turn out to be interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what sort of it comes down to. I mean, he wins this game. It's not the last games then become boring because there are still, position jostlings for that, top 2 spots, which you want to be up there just for those, final setup. It makes things a lot easier. On the other side of things, he loses this game and then all of a sudden everything down the bottom becomes playable. So Naiman's still got one of his games to come. He wins. Maybe he's a chance even from, especially thinking about where he was 0-5 in the first couple of weeks. If he were to scrape into that top 4 would be a massive achievement to him. But we've still got to get into that game. We won't getting into it very shortly. So it's all on the line there. Deepti, he's playing for a top 4 spot, a chance to be in finals next week. A loss there, and it sort of gets things, it makes things interesting down towards the bottom. So, again, I don't think we're going to be picking players. We're going to be just seeing how things go. I mean, look, he knows how to beat Destroyer in the sense because, we've seen Destroyer in the earlier game. The game 1, he got beaten fairly well when he's batting, and that was the big problem for him. So, if he can get a batting performance going nicely and then he gets the bowling towards Deepti, that's where things could get interesting. We've seen as well, Destroyer has tended to bowl first. He changed it around against Sanayaman where he decided to bat, got himself out to a decent total with 37, bowled well enough, while still getting hit for a few runs to get the job done there. Destroyer, again, the toss will be in his favour. This time he is going to go back to the bowling. So he's gone 2 bowling, 1 batting. Deepti will get himself ready to bat, ready to set a score, to give himself an opportunity to play finals cricket here for the ECPL. So here we go, match number 4. It's anyone's game. So much can be decided through this one. It is going to be an absolute cracker.
Absolutely, and I think purely from a personal standpoint, Destroyer might have just got it wrong here. I think he could have really opted to bowl first, bat first here, because obviously we saw how that really helped him right in the last game. Because we've seen Deepti scoring 50 runs the last time he was able to bat first. I think it was day 4, but Deepti is also having tremendous motivation in terms of finishing out in the top 4. I don't know why would Destroyer sort of want to why would Destroyer want to opt here to bowl first, given he already knows that he's already had 3 losses and bowling first, and again he's had 5 wins batting first. Again, because he's also looking to finish in the top 2. Because obviously where you stand on the table would also really matter at the end of the day. So very much interested how Deepti sort of able to capitalize on the opportunity of batting first here, because obviously when you bat first and when you're able to get score between 35 and 40, I think you're putting yourself in a very good position of winning the match.
Absolutely, and then you can find yourself in this situation where you've only got 7 off the first 3 balls. And there's still plenty of time to change around with this first over. But again, another dot ball here, another wicket, and then that's Deepti just under immediate pressure once again. And I don't think he's gotten completely onto that one, and that is the wicket as well. Another one to fall. Destroyer has a couple. Deepti only has the 7 runs. And now this is where things need to start going through at a better pace for him, because you've already lost those wickets. There's dot balls. You've still got the 10 to go, but then you've got to make sure at least half of them are boundaries. He needs to hit that 30-40 mark just to have something decent enough to defend, because I think we've seen it many a time 20 doesn't seem to be enough in any sense. In 20 to and in the mid-20s, maybe get a little bit higher. You get towards that 30 mark, you possibly have a chance to get things moving in that direction. But we need more boundaries, and we need more of these where it's getting over the top, and it's going that one for 6, and that's what he's after. Deepty gets on top of it. Just like that, skips out to 13. Still a bit of work to do, but he's giving himself an opportunity, Sahil.
Yeah, and absolutely. How much do you think Deepti has in his mind about the current scenario with the leaderboard, and how much do you think is sort of impacting his game here?
Well, that's the thing as well. He needs to worry about that points difference, because we don't know how much that's going to change if he does drop this by a considerable margin. That could hurt him in the long run, because then we could see him drop out of that top 4 with a loss here, and then he can't change that. So he needs to, if he's going to drop this game, he needs to make sure he can get as many runs on the possible, make sure that Destroyer uses most of the 2 overs to get to it. Then you can feel like, okay, I've done what I need to there. Hopefully my points differential will be sitting in a decent position where I can just sort of feel like I've got things in flow. But at the moment, he's getting himself into a flow himself here. Deepty, 2 massive 6s to start this over. And just like that, he skips across to 27. And that big 40 score that we're talking about, something to set as the par. It's very much back on the cards here.
Absolutely. And just when I thought, Deepti was timing the ball perfectly, and just when I was about to say that, I think, he's found the fielder there. But in a good way to start the second over. Obviously, you have 27 on the board. 5 over Deepti, obviously, I would look to sort of add another 10 to my score from here on in the last 3 balls that I have. And that's very much, what I think Deepti would want to do as well. So I think anything is possible. The max that you get from the last 3 balls is 18, which will take your score to 45. But I think Deepti would be happy with anything that's even closer to 35, because obviously a wicket there and you only have about 2 balls remaining. 27 obviously of 10 balls so far. We have about 2 balls to go, for the end of first innings. And I think Deepti is wanting to get as much score as well, as much score as possible on the board. But in the process, what is unfortunately be able to do is also find the fielders. But shots like those, because we saw the way he hit those 2 6s at the start of the second over, perfectly timed shots. And this, obviously coming down the track to long off, obviously that's not an easy shot to play. And to be able to finish, with 39 on the board with a 6, I think we've seen everything in this over, right? We've seen 24 being scored in this over. We've also seen a couple of wickets also going down this over, and we suddenly see Destroyer chasing 40 in 12 balls. So I think obviously he's going to be under pressure from ball 1.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've got to give credit there to Deepti. He got in a little bit of trouble those wickets after getting those initial 6s at the start of the second over, but responded with 2 more to finish. So 39 in the 2 overs there, 40 to win here for Destroyer 3. He has a chance to put Deepti under enormous pressure from the 2 players chasing him in that bottom 2. Deepti needs to restrict him to less than 40, and he will secure a spot in the finals for next week. So much on the line here. Deepti needs to get everything right with his bowling. Destroyer needs to find himself some runs early on. He's looking for a top 2 spot. Deepti's looking for a spot in the finals, and to avoid the 2 players chasing him in 5th and 6th. It all comes down to the next 12 balls as we get this one underway with a full toss on the toes, and it's a good delivery, but it's just shaping down leg. Still though, a dot ball and a good start here for Deepti.
Obviously, that's a good way to start, a dot ball to begin with. But you still have another 11 balls to go. And one of the things, Harry, that we've seen, from players all across day 1 to 4 is that when you're batting second, right, and when you have a score anything more than a 30, I think you're always struggling. You're always struggling to find boundaries, because those dot balls in the middle create a lot of pressure. And then again, it just makes it very difficult. And you literally feel that, the batsman struggling to find the boundaries, and unfortunately is able to find the fielders instead. So I certainly would not want Destroyer 3 to sort of end up in that situation. But, as you can sense, right, he has 2 runs of 3 balls, and he's sort of getting into that zone of, unfortunately finding out the fielders, as I was rightly calling out. Because as things stand, obviously there's a huge score now because you only have about 8 balls to go, and there's good about 35, 38 runs that you still have to get. So I think that puts Destroyer 3 under a lot of pressure, because if you're certainly looking to finish, top 1 or 2, I think he would want to get this under the belt.
And it is, and with every dot ball and with every wicket, the hearts, unfortunately, of Raj and also Sanoman, they know that it may just be about over here. The target is 40, only 2 runs off this over. Finally, some runs there. So 34 required from Destroyer 3 off 6 balls. It will have to be pretty much perfect. It's got to be 6 sixes in a row to win. The only other option is 5 sixes and a 4 for 34 runs. And then they have an opportunity from there to possibly get themselves at least an opportunity to get it to a draw. And then from there, well, you might have a magic go. But it has to be perfect. 1 wrong. If he doesn't hit a boundary, he doesn't hit a 6, it's pretty much over.
And more than that, I think, for them to be able to hit, a 4 and 5 sixes or 6 sixes, I think it's all about timing, right? If you have 6, balls which are perfectly timed in that particular scenario, you would be able to see the target getting chased down. But then again, it generally happens. All throughout this ECPL 2023, we've seen, the team batting second, no matter even if it is the first seeded or the second seeded player. He's always struggled. And I was talking about at the beginning of second innings, right? When you are able to score more than 30 runs, batting first, the opposition team, batting second would always be under some sort of a pressure because you're struggling to connect the bat to the ball. Second of all, you're also wanting to time the ball perfectly as well to be able to hit sixes or boundaries, right? So. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But the pressure, right? Because everybody, people watching this stream right now, the players that are currently sort of competing against each other, and also the players, who are wanting to vouch for this playoff spot, they do understand the kind of pressure, that these players are sort of playing under. So. That's a brilliant way for Deepti to sort of cement the top the top 4 spot here, and really looking forward to how sort of things turn out, right, from a leaderboard standpoint, who finishes first, who finishes second. We've not seen much of danger zone today, but then again, a good win for Deepti here. I think that's the 5th win. So as things stand, that's 5 wins and 5 losses for Deepti. And obviously not very good result in if I was Raj or Saini Aman here, but a very good win here for Deepti, and now sort of wanting to capitalize on that, sort of relieve some pressure here, ease out a bit, come back fresh.
Absolutely. So Deepti takes the win. And in doing so, it confirms our top 4. Their places still to be determined with the last couple of games we've got tonight. But congratulations to those 4 individuals that have now put themselves through. And Danger Zone, Jajash, Destroyer, and Deepti have all secured finals for next week. We'll discuss that further after the break. We will be back shortly, right after this.
The biggest party in sport is back. ECPL and WCPL return with more action than ever before.
Are you kidding me? Volley!
Watch the biggest names in cricket battle it out in the race for glory.
Brilliantly! Celebrate some more!
Get your tickets now at cplt20.com or at the box office. Join the party. Experience cricket played louder.
Hello guys, welcome back to the ECPL day number 5, the final one of our round robins. My name's Harry Morton. I'm joined by Kachila. And well, after that fourth game we just saw, it is decided the top 4 have been locked in. Their places in that top 4 still need to be thrown around with our last 2 games to go. But as it stands, it is Danger Zone to Jash Destroyer and Deepty who will be making it through to the finals next week. Still a lot of prize pool stuff to play from them, but that means that we are going to be seeing the last game from Sanaya Man about to be coming up. He's sitting 3-6. He'll be hoping to finish with a win in this, well, 5th game of the evening. Mahara, he's locked in, but he still has an opportunity to get himself pretty much locked into that top 2 spot, which all the players are chasing. Well, you know, one's playing for pride and the other's playing for positioning in the top 4. So, Hill, how do you see this one playing
out? I think it's a dead rubber for Saini Aman. So, I think he would really look to spoil the party here, and I think that should be his only intent, right? Because otherwise, obviously there's that obviously the prize pool at stake here. Obviously there's a difference between how much the number of the 5th seeded player is going to get win versus the number 6th player. I think other than that, I think the only intent here for Saini Aman would be to sort of spoil Tejas's party, because if he's able to come out on top of Tejas, I think that gives Destroyer a very good chance to sort of cement his place, obviously cement his position in the top 2. We saw him getting sort of we saw some kind of a faltering happening with Destroyer 3 there, obviously with Dipti coming out on top. But this is Saini Aman's chance to not only sort of win a better prize pool, being 5th seeded, but to also sort of spoil the party for Tejas as well. So I think there are 2 things that we can look forward to here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, 5th and 6th, there is a difference. I mean, $1,500 for 5th and $500 for 6th. So there still is that to play for. So I mean, he wants to take at least that extra bit of money in finishing 5th place. Mahara gets this victory here. He actually saw an opportunity to get towards 1st, going off points differential. Whether or not that'll probably work against him, considering he does have a fairly low one. But there's still the one game to forge this, and that is Danger Zone still got his one. And then also you've got Destroy, who'll be playing in that one. That'll be a 1st versus 3rd affair, which will be fantastic to watch on that end. So still plenty with these ones here. But yeah, I mean, look, again, as you said, look, it's a dead rubber in a sense, but there's still so much to play for, even if it's not for finals. Extra cash, positioning in that top four, being able to, maybe have that extra, game in hand in a sense when it comes to that finals, being in that top two position. It all really is still up for grabs in a lot of different senses, but I'm just looking forward to a nice game here. And for Sanai, man, look, you get that extra cash as well if he gets some odds fifth, but also just to set it off with a bang. Considering he was sitting, as we talked about, like 0-5, he was 0-4 after day one and just had an absolute shocker. Couldn't get anything right. He's shown a lot of heart to get back to where he is. I mean, he's won 3 now of out of the 5 that he's played. Make it 4 out of the last 6. Show that there's a reason you got into that top 6 in the first place, and that you can really match it with the rest. But you know what? That's what he's playing for. Pride, maybe a bit of extra money, and then he'll be thinking about if he can get back to this situation, if we do have that when that season 2 comes around, if he'll be able to put that together. But, yeah, look, hopefully it's just some good cricket. We've seen some blowouts. We've seen some fantastic bowling. We've seen, just about everything. But we haven't really seen a close one today. I mean, we've seen them throughout the tournament, of course. But, the closest one we had was that sort of third game, which tonight, man, what is in that game, unfortunately just falling a little bit short, trying to chase down those runs of the 37, only managing the 29. So he'll be looking to try and replicate that, except just, basically change things around, and whether or not he gets a chance to bowl or bat first. I must say he's not won a lot of tosses. It's actually something that a few players have noted, that if you don't win the toss and you don't get a chance to bat first, it can be against you. And tonight, man, I don't know if he actually won a toss on that first day in the first 4 games. So that was always playing against him. But maybe, for one last time, you'll get at least that starting win with a toss.
Absolutely, and obviously that'll give him sort of a good platform to sort of be able to go about his game plan, because obviously we can't say for certain, right, what his actual game plan is, right? Because had he won the toss on day one, those games that you're referring to, we might have been been in a complete different scenario. Maybe then, maybe now, who knows, right? But then again, as you also mentioned, that we're looking forward to good cricket happening, and we can say for sure that obviously we see good cricket when Saini Aman's bowling. We also see good cricket when he's batting as well. But obviously his bowling is something which I feel that is his strength. If we sort of talk, if we break his game down into different parts, I think bowling stands out for him. I think that is his strength, and I think for him to sort of start here, I don't think he'll be concerned too much. I think he'll only be looking forward to giving us a game of good cricket here and sort of spoil the party for Tejas.
That's what we'll be hoping for as well. I mean, that just sort of comes back to the combination of the two has been the problem, as you said. Like, he's had good bowling, he's had good batting, and things have gone together. If they had maybe gone together a little bit better, then they would have. We could have been sitting in a very different scenario than what we are right now. But it's for pride. It's for not finishing in last place tonight, man. He sits in 6th at the moment at 3 and 6. He's looking to go up to 5th, take home a nice $1,500 prize. He can't get in the finals. On the other side of things, Tesh Mahara, he's looking to try and secure a second place spot, really get himself with the biggest opportunity to take home the win when we get to finals next week. So, day 5, match 5, just about to get underway. It's going to be another classic, hopefully a close game, full of some good bowling and good batting. The field just about set. Tesh Mahara will be bowling, and Sanai Man will be the man who's got the bat in hand.
I'm certainly looking forward to the kind of mindset that he has, knowing that it's difficult for him now to sort of qualify in the top 4 spot, knowing all the circumstances that there are. So obviously, looking forward to what the way he approaches his game here, because batting first would really help his game plan. And just like that, we've seen the first 6 of the match. What do you think, Harry? Are we going to see 6 sixes?
Well, I mean, as he said, it's just about getting the batting and the bowling together in that one. I mean, we're already seeing 2 sixes that started off here. So this has been the problem he's had, is that he's actually not been able to put up massive scores, some of the 50s and 60s we've seen throughout. But Tasha Mahara hasn't started this well for the bowling, and he's giving him the opportunity to do just that. 3 sixes in a row. And Sanaya, man, well, as we've said, he's improved throughout the tournament. He's showing it right here. Unfortunately, it's a little bit too late in the essence of being able to make finals, but he is still being able to put on at least a bit of a showing for a couple of these other ones here. It's well fielded out in the deeps, bounce once, and we'll be able to scoot it through for a couple there. But 20 off the first 4 balls. This is a perfect start for Sanaya, man.
More than a perfect start, because obviously, I don't think we've seen many players score of the first 4, in all the matches across 5 days so far. But this clearly shows the pressure-free mindset that he has at this point, because this is the 4th 6 now that we have seen from him, towards the deep square leg area. And obviously, we have 26 runs on the board being scored off just 5 balls. So, 4 sixes, a double there. I think that's a very, more than a great great way to start the over.
That it is, and another boundary to end it. So that is going to be 30 off the first over. Sanaya, man, getting himself in a fantastic position after the first one there. And one opportunity to try and add on to that and put together a nice score. I mean, this, look, he keeps the same pace as that previous over. 60 is very much doable. You can even feel like 50, you could even ride it in, give it a big tick. If he continues in the way it's been, but Ramara, just a pretty shocking first over, and that's not going to help things wide down the leg side. That'll be a 5 together with that as it hits the boundary. Just like that, skipping along to 35 without even needing, and still not having actually faced a ball.
That's still close to a 36, Harry. Obviously, we would have loved to see 6 sixes being scored in the form, of 6 balls, but again, 35 of 6 is still not a bad score.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is just a fantastic batting display. I mean, 41 off 7 deliveries. You're not going to see that very often. In fact, the only way you're going to be seeing that if it's 7 off 6. And now it sits off that, because with a couple... Well, actually, I thought that was going to be a wide. In fact, it's going to be called just a dot ball there. But 41 off 8 balls. This has been a fantastic display so far. Teshmanara, though, he can still bring this back a little bit. Dot balls there. Needs a couple of wickets just to start to reel in the run rate. And he could have an opportunity here. But again, he split the field. And it's not a 6, but another boundary, 4 to the rope. This continues to be a fantastic batting display from Sanaya, man.
Yeah, and obviously for all the audience that are watching this team today, 54 is the highest that we've seen in the tournament so far, being scored by Deepti on day 4 against Destroyer. But I think with 2 more balls to go, I think Seniaman has a very good chance here to sort of finish out the tournament on a high, set that record for the highest score on the tournament in the round robin stages. Still, obviously with the no ball, I think that's still pretty much up for grabs here.
Absolutely. No ball, free hit. So more runs to be coming here. This has been some fantastic stuff. 60 on the cards. Opportunity to hit this one for 6, a wide one, and more runs. That's a wide. Ooh. It's another boundary. 5 put together there. Well, we could get past 72 runs if things continue in this manner. Just more extras on top of everything. 72 would be the max if we did legal deliveries with every single one of them, 36 off each. But as it stands, it's going to be sitting at around the 60 mark, and he will get to 60 there, Sanaya, man. It's not a boundary. It will be a nice double as they run that one through. And, oh, no, I say that. I thought it was. He didn't get his bat down in time. It's actually a run out. So he's got himself to 60. Finally, a wicket, Teshmanara. Some good fielding in the outfield there. As it stands, this has still been a fantastic display tonight. I mean, 60 runs. We've seen it, I think, once before this. It's a rare feat because it's just, well, to get it, you have to have everything go right. And it certainly has here for the man that will be exiting the tournament, of course. But this is going to be massive for the points differential here, Sahil, because Teshmanara, he would need to get a huge score to keep that close.
So not only is Saini Aman sort of wanting to cement that fifth spot, but he's also hurting Tejas' chances of finishing in top two. And obviously, 60 being scored off 12 balls. I think that's 5 runs per ball that Saini Aman has scored in this particular match. That's the highest score that we've seen in the tournament. That's the highest partnership that we have seen in the tournament so far. So, quite a few records that Saini Aman has sort of broken, halfway through the match here, halfway through the fifth match here on day 5. And I think it's, I do have, some inclination towards Saini Aman, walking away with a victory here. I think it's going to be, immensely difficult for Tejas to be able to get 61 on the board in 12 balls. So I think practically a single dot ball is, or let's say 2 dot balls, all he can afford. But then again, the remaining 10 have to be sixes. So that's the sort of equation that we are sort of, here, if a particular matchup. Because, if you do not have 15 on the board in 3 balls, that's basically, that's sort of basically be, falling below the 30 run per, 30 run per over run rate. And then again, it just becomes difficult. And I think only two dot balls is what Tejas can afford here. There's no room for error. There's no room for error whatsoever if he's at all looking to finish in the top 2.
Yeah, it's just going to be sixes to galore. Everything needs to come off the bat absolutely perfectly. Otherwise, it will be pretty much game over, at least looking for that top 2 spot, I'd imagine. Especially because if he doesn't get close, well, that's the thing. He needs to get at least close, even if he falls short of that target, just to, make sure that points differential doesn't jump out and put him in danger of dropping down to maybe even something to what could be even towards that bottom 4 spot. And that would make things very difficult to get back to if he has that opportunity. Now, guys, we're just in a quick little tech pause here, just while the game is set back up. Hopefully we'll be able to get back into that one. If not, there'll be the reset, of course. 60 runs off that over. So that'll be the one to be chasing there. But also, for this one to follow, we've got one more game in the evening before we wrap things up. That, of course, will be, I believe, yes, Mr. Destroyer 3 and Danger Zone. Both players are already in the top 4. That'll be more vying for positions in that top 4 spot and for finals in the next week. So we are getting a reset of the game. I shouldn't be too far off with that one. Sahil, we're closing into the end of this game. We have to say, look, as you said, there's a record's broken there from tonight, man. It would be, you'd feel nice that he's at least able to take something away, if not, a spot in the finals. Definitely a nice little record that he's got one of the highest scores, if not the highest score of the tournament we've seen, and done so in a pretty emphatic manner.
Absolutely, because I think there's no better way to go. If you're signing off, I think you would want to sign off on a high note there. And as I mentioned, right, highest partnership, highest score in the tournament so far, and sort of spoiling the party as well here for Tejas. Because not only is he going to sort of open up that point difference gap with, say, Raj in the 5th place currently, but also he's going to hurt the point difference for Tejas there, and that might certainly sort of help Deepthi or, Destroyer 3, who are just trailing behind Tejas at this point of time. But I don't know. To be honest, I do have an inclination towards Saini Aman walking away with this comfortably. But I wouldn't still say 100%. I would say 95%. I'm pretty sure that the record will still stay after this match that Saini Aman sort of created. But 5% gives me that little hope that show me, Tejas, show me. Obviously I've been calling you a revelation right throughout this tournament. Show us, what are you made of? So yeah, that 5% really talks about that particular thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And well, I mean, as you said, you weren't going to do many prediction stuff today, but like just say the 95%, and that's what it is. There is still an opportunity here for Tajesh to get those runs. There's got to be if not exactly perfect, pretty much the closest thing to that. But he still has that opportunity to, show some more tricks of his own, whether or not he can get the timings on those. Or maybe he's just sort of already checked out for that one as well. He's already in. He's got the top four. Hopefully one of those will fall through. But, well, we are just about ready to get ourselves back into the game, I believe. We shouldn't be too far off that one now. And, well, I'm going to put, you wouldn't put the house in any of these, but I think, Sahil, look, you said 95%. I'll go even further. I'll say 99.95% that this one is going to be done here. Yes, pretty much having to do as much as he wants from that one. Sanaya Man is going to have to collapse in many a way, you would imagine, for this one to go against him. So hopefully that he has the opportunity there. It will be at least a good spectacle to the eyes to see how that one goes. But we will be getting into this one shortly. We, of course, the 60 runs to chase down there. Day 6 will be, I should say, match 6 to follow very soon as well with that one. Destroyer 3 in Danger Zone will finish us off. But this is where all things must come to a head. Sahil is looking to try and defend 60 off the 12 balls. Look, and Sahil, I don't know, you sort of cut out a bit there as well before we got the things going, but I'm thinking 99.95% victory. Here we are, the final 2 overs of match 1. Last game of the day. Possibly put through. You just got to test down 60. Yeah, it's easy. Just get a bunch of 60. Really.
It's been so easy. We would have seen a lot of 72s being scored in so many matches that we've seen all throughout this tournament, right? But I think you were right there. I did give an extra 4.95 in favor of Tejas there, but I think you're rightly right. You're only giving him 0.05, 0.05 there. But you never know. I think the first 2 balls, and I think we would certainly 3 or 4 balls. I think we would certainly know which way the game is heading.
Absolutely, as we get ourselves ready. But it's got to be picture perfect here from Tejas Mahara. Sanaya Man, he realistically only needs 3 dot balls, and well, there's the first one. Tejas Mahara didn't even seem to, realise that he was even being bowled out there. Just let that one thump into the pads. This time he does get a little bit on it. This one, though, will be called a wide. Just a little bit too outside that leg side. Pretty much everything we've seen outside the leg side, the batsman misses it. It's usually going to be called a wide in that regard. Second one here up towards the stumps. A bit better timed around the feet, but still it's up in the air. It's caught. And there are those 2 dot balls. A dot ball, a wicket. Sanaya Man now almost there. And all that Tajesh can really do at this point is that, he needs to hope that extras come in so he gets a chance. But if it's 10 balls, Sahil, that are just normal ones, they need to be 10 sixes in a row, which, pretty easy stuff to do, honestly.
Yeah, pretty easy in terms of, timing the 10 balls, perfectly. But then again, sarcasm aside, I think it's very difficult. I think there's no room, not even a 0.01% room of error here.
Absolutely. Is again another wicket. And this one, the result is pretty much done at this point. So now it's just for Sanaya Man. How much can he win by? And Tejas Mahara, he just need to make sure his points difference doesn't skyrocket completely out of control, because he could drop all the way down to 4th, where his position is currently sitting around 2nd, 3rd. So There's still a lot on the line for these ones here, at least just to get some runs on the board, but he's just not being able to connect at all. It's another one, and just like that, a hat-trick on the board. And Sinaiman is doing it all in his last game here for ECPL 2023. He may not be making finals, but he is making a massive statement here. 60 off his 2 overs. He's taken a hat-trick in the first over here.
Absolutely, and we pretty much have an idea of which way the game's heading now for sure. Because obviously, mathematically we cannot, cannot sort of call any of the players out, but I think Tejas sort of realized, from the very first dot ball that he faced, that this is pretty much out of his hands, and we've now seen 4 wickets in 4 balls falling, and at let's say only about 1 run that's being scored so far. So as the score line reads, right, it's 1 run for 4 wickets, which pretty difficult to digest. And somebody of the stature of Tejas, who's a top seed in this tournament, I think we would have expected better from him. And that's the 5th wicket. So we've seen 5 wickets in 6 balls.
Yeah, this has just been something else at the moment. So
that's a new record.
One there.
That's so we were talking about 6 wickets in 6 balls, but we got pretty close.
So we got pretty close.
One of the records. Yeah.
Well, we could still get all 10 wickets here. Like 6 balls to go, 5 wickets in hand. There's a possibility it could happen.
Absolutely, and all this while, we've been speaking about, how the batting team is. Oh, that's the 6th one. And then again, as I was mentioning, all this while we've been speaking about what is it that the batting team needs to do in order to sort of overcome a target. But we've never really spoken about a bowling team sort of wanting to sort of get 10 wickets in 12 balls. But we very much have a possibility here. We have 6 wickets. Sort of taken by Saini Aman here in 7 balls. Very much a possibility to get another 4 in the next 5. And that's 6 wickets on the trot. Harry, from a complete gaming standpoint, and that's 7.
Yeah, the 10 wickets is definitely on here as another one falls. This is a bizarre match 5 right here. We've seen the pinnacle of batting and now almost the pinnacle of bowling all to come together in these final ones here. And, well, Teshmahara, he's making finals, but he's certainly not really putting on a finals-like performance in his final game of the round robin. This one on the toes, this one put up in the air, and it's another wicket, another hat-trick, and we've got 8 now. This is just something to behold at the moment. 2 wickets to get here for Sinaiman to get 10. And for Teshmahara, it would be just a single run. It's baffling in a sense how we've even got to this stage. But here is where we stand with it. On the toes once again. This one up in the air. It might even be another one. Oh, it is. 4 in a row. We're not going to get 6 and 6 balls, unfortunately, but we might be about to see Sahil 10 wickets in a single game where there's only 2 overs. This is quite bizarre.
I think we never really gave any percentage to 10 wickets falling in. Had you asked me, I would have given 99% to 10 wickets not falling. But, the odds are completely different now. You need 1 wicket in 2 balls.
Oh, and it's up, and he's got it. It has happened. 10 wickets down, and that is the end of the innings. Just the 1 run on the board, and Sinaiman, he's not going to be making finals, as we said, but he has ended it with a bang. He makes 60 in his own, and then he bowls out his opponent for just a single run and takes 10 wickets. Yeah, why not? Why not? That's just the way the night's gone. You're going to see some funny stuff. And there it is. Sinaiman knocks away the biggest total of the tournament, and he takes the most wickets in the game as well. So that's two little accolades to take with him on his way out of this one. Unfortunately, it's not going to be enough to get him into a finals position, but it was definitely interesting to watch, that's for sure.
And I think it was a record-setting match, if you sort of talk about in that sense, right? Not only did you set the highest score, but you also sort of bowled the opposition out for the lowest score of the tournament. I think that was only 1 run scored, Harry. That was only 1 run scored, Harry. In 11 balls, and out of which 10 were wickets. I don't know what I just saw. I really don't know what I just saw, because to be able to get 10 wickets in 11 balls, I don't know. If we had an extra ball, we might have actually seen 6 wickets in 6 balls. But we did see 10 wickets in 10 balls. If you look at it that way, we did see 10 wickets in 10 balls, 5 in the first over and 5 in the last over.
Yeah, no, it was just an absolutely bizarre way to do it. So 10 wickets, 60 runs. What a game it was. We are going to be going to a quick break, guys. When we return, our final game of the evening and our final game of the round robin format, before we look ahead, of course, to finals for next week. We'll be right back after this.
The biggest party in sport is back. CPL and WCPL return with more action than ever before.
Are you kidding me? Ollie!
Watch the biggest names in cricket battle it out in the race for glory.
Celebrate some more!
Get your tickets now at cplt20.com or at the box office. Join the party. Experience cricket played louder.
Hello, guys, and welcome back to the ECPL Day 5. We are just about to get ready to finish things off for the evening. We've got one match to go. We saw just before it was Sinaiman with a 60-run effort in 2 overs, then bowling out Teshmahara for 1 in 10 balls. We saw 10 wickets fall. 2 different hat-tricks, and now we come to our final game of the evening, and that is, of course, between Danger Zone and Destroyer. Both of these players looking to, they have blocked in spots in the top 4. Now they're looking to try and get, their spots secured in different positions here. In fact, looking at it now, both of these players are sitting around the top 2. A win for Destroyer could push him back into first place. Danger Zone gets this one. It is an outright first place, and he takes that one through the round robin side. So, Sahil, the bit to play for. This is your top two, essentially, as it sits. These are the best two players that come out of the round robin system, at least by the standings here. How do we think this one's going to go?
And could this be the first playoff set? So this might be a mock-up to say, the first match of the playoffs that we might potentially end up seeing. But pretty clear at this point, given that there's a good amount of point difference between second placed Destroyer and third place stages, courtesy the last match. Obviously, all kudos and thanks. Obviously, Destroyer 3 would be thanking Saini. Not only has he set records for himself, so
yeah, absolutely, with a lot of those ones there. It does make it a lot more difficult to sort of take away how you look at, for certain players at least, where the exact rankings might sit, because we've seen games where there've been a couple drop, couple done through. I think, though, the win here for Danger Zone to put him outright first. So, I feel like he has been the best player in this competition so far. A win here would really just cement that in most people's eyes, and will give him all the opportunity and will give him all the momentum going into next week for finals. So there's plenty on the line there. And, looking at it again, we did talk about ages. He is, again, one of the younger ones, while the other two, that being, of course, Sanaya Man and also Raj, finishing 5th and 6th respectively on their ends. It does mean, of course, that in one sense, he's 23 years of age. He's actually the best player overall. So sometimes it doesn't really matter with the age. You don't need the experience on top of that, as long as you know how to get the balls going and how to get everything in shape and order. You're going to be doing all right. Also, leaderboard-wise update from that previous match done. Cheshmahara's dropped down from 2nd to 3rd. So that means that he won't be playing in that top 2 spot unless, of course, Destroyer suffers a defeat here, and it is by some margin. And on the other side as well of that one, Sanaya Man has jumped Raj to go up to 5th out of the 6. So he will be taking home that $1,500 prize. And Raj drops down to 6th and takes home the 500 USD. So congratulations to those two on their efforts there. Unfortunately, they won't be making the finals, as we've previously gone through. And now, of course, we look towards these other ones. So for next week, 1st versus 2nd, 3rd versus 4th. And 5 will go from there. 3rd versus 4th also goes on that side, putting together how those two do. But here we are. Match number 6. We are ready to get this underway. We have Will Sahil for a second, so he will be joining us, hopefully, to end this one off at some point here. He's here. Hello, Sahil, have you joined us back? All right, beautiful. We've got him back in. Just as the game is getting underway, the toss has gone through. Danger Zone will elect to bat, and he now has the opportunity to get a score on the board. And Sahil, an opportunity to get himself into outright first in 7 wins and 3 losses. On the other hand, Destroyer, he could actually leapfrog him up into first, but a win will definitely secure him at least second. It means that these two will be playing themselves first up next week for the finals.
Absolutely. And leapfrogging, I think it is difficult here, Harry. I think, if it's a close call, even if Danger Zone happens to lose out on this match, a tight match here, I think he'll still finish first. Unless we see a match, the kind of, of a magnitude that we saw, as the previous one, I don't think we're going to see much change in terms of, how players currently stand on the leaderboard. But if I was Destroyer, right, I think I would be happy with the way I've just started the match, because 2 dot balls to the top seeded player here just sort of gives me an immense amount of confidence. But again, you're 1 and 2 for a reason there, and obviously just like that, you have 6 runs on the board of 3 balls, and if you're able to get a couple more, I think you're right on top. But dot balls like those, and then again, I wouldn't even say you're even Stevens. I think it's still very much in favor of Destroyer here from a bowling standpoint.
Yeah, absolutely. As we do see this one picked out from the outside of the off stump, and Danger Zone gets on top of that one. Still, though, Destroyer started this one off fairly nicely. 3 dot balls. He's allowed a couple of sixes there in this last couple of balls here. So Danger Zone looking to try and get a 6 to finish this one off the over. Make it the 18. He can't connect with that one. And just 12 there. So a nice bowling display from Destroyer, really targeting that leg stump, just aiming in for that one with the full tosses. And Danger Zone hasn't really been able to get on top of them, see you.
I don't know. To be honest, Harry, I don't know, because if I was Destroyer or if I was Danger Zone, first of all, I would want to sort of, look forward to seeing what is it that I want to achieve out of this match. What are those bases that I want to cover? In my lead up to the playoffs. From Danger Zone standpoint, I think he's wanting to cover those bases really well. Destroyer 3 until about this ball had struggled to get any wicket, but I think that's a very good ball from the left armour, to the right hand batsman, and to be able to sort of, rock the stumps off the way that he did. I think he would not be too worried about it. I think he's still happy that the score is still about 22 of 9 balls. Even Stevens at this point, very much balanced match. I certainly do not feel is heading into one particular direction. But let's just give it another 2-3 balls, Harry.
Yeah, absolutely. And, well, this has just been a little bit of an interesting over so far. So the 4 and the 6 from Danger Zone. It's been brought back nicely here from Destroyer with a wicket and a single. And all of a sudden, 23. He still wants to get in towards that 30s, give himself a bit more to bat with here, but that's not going to be helping him too much. That should just be a single, a little bit of a misfield, but still just be one there. So 24, 6 here will give him the 30. But I'd say overall, Destroyer, I think he'd be pretty happy with how he's done these 2 overs here. It's the final ball for
most certainly.
Here. Into the pads.
Most certainly.
Again, a leg side. Beautiful stuff there, Sahil. 24 runs only for Danger Zone. Look, he's only played the 1 game of the day, so maybe a little bit rusty considering, Destroyer's had quite a few to go through already. I think you'd have to be pretty happy if you're on the side of Destroyer after that bowling performance.
Absolutely. And given that, Destroyer, obviously this is last match of day 5, but then again, it's also the 4th match that Destroyer is actually playing today. So from a game simulation standpoint, he's, almost there. But obviously, I don't think he would want to sort of get into the zone where, the kind of zone that we saw Tejas getting into the last game. Because that might mess things up, right? That might mess things up and might give Danger Zone his 7th win. But 24, not a very hard target to chase there. I think it's very much achievable. And even if you were to sort of score about, let's say, 12 to 15 of the first over, I think you should be able to comfortably get there. But if with second innings, Harry, I've seen that obviously these players have been struggling, right? The moment that you dot in the first over, these players are struggling to kind of connect the bat, to time it perfectly, are ending up giving it to the hands of the fielder, towards the deep fine leg area. Sometimes they're timing it perfectly well, but most 9%. Even a single or a double doesn't help, when you're sort of looking at getting about 4 or 5 runs per ball. Even a single or double doesn't help. It just increases the kind of runs that you need per ball, by about 20-30%. So I think that's one key thing that we would want to look here, because how these players sort of overcome that struggle of countering, when they're chasing, countering those dot balls or countering those balls where, and it's nothing to do with, balls being bad or balls being very good or them not being able to time the ball perfectly. I think it's more about the pressure part of it. I think I think there's a feeling that, they might get this over the line very comfortably, and suddenly realizing after 2 or 3 balls that, oh my God, this is, too difficult all of a sudden. So I think we are seeing that kind of a scenario, that's been happening more often than not. And let's see. Obviously 24 doesn't look like a big target here, but 4 dot balls, right? All you need is 4 dot balls, and you'll see obviously Destroyer 3 under a lot of pressure here.
Absolutely. I mean, today's matches, at least, we've only seen one team or one player being able to get over the line when they've been batting second. A lot of it has been, as you said, just the pressure build up with those dot balls early on. And, whether or not that, Destroyer, again, he's bowled incredibly well in that first one, and he's got himself in a good position. The 24, I don't feel like it's going to be enough, but as you said, it just takes that 1 or 2 dot balls and you get a wicket and you start thinking, all right, well, now I've really started going for sixes. You miss time a few more. The run rate just keeps building, goes up and up and up. And all of a sudden you need 20 or 5 deliveries and everything in your mind's just going, wow, I even got myself into this situation. So be interesting to see how the run starts off. Destroyer gets some early boundaries. He's going to be feeling pretty confident that he can just finish this one off, maybe hit an over if he gets himself going. I mean, look, we just saw 60 off the 2 overs. Maybe we'll see another, 24 off the 5 balls. Do it like that. Simple, done. We go home. It's just like that. But we have got the reset of this one, so...
And we also saw no runs being scored in 10 consecutive balls. So obviously that's one point that you missed out, Harry.
Oh yeah, just a nice mix of everything, really. All the good stuff together. This is why we love the game. It just always delivers in different ways. So as it stands here, so if you're joining us for this Game 6, Danger Zone just hit 24 off his deliveries. I believe it was 23 or 24, one of the two. But basically, Destroyer is chasing about that man to get himself the victory and look to try and maybe even secure first spot outright, depending on how things sort of go with points differential. But here we go. First one of this one here. The field will be set up, ready for this. And our last 2 overs of the evening. Sahil, take it away.
Good way to start. And obviously, Harry, these are the kind of balls that I'm thinking, I was talking about. You feel that you're going to comfortably sort of, sail through the target. But in the process, what you don't realize is, you're sort of either not hitting too many boundaries or, throwing it straight into the hands of the fielder. But I think, obviously, Destroyer sort of countered me there, but that's something that we've seen. But I think Destroyer has come with a clear mindset here that obviously I've observed all the games and I don't want to get into that riddle of leaving it for too late to sort of win the game here. So I think this is a very good approach from him. 2 sixes and a 4. Sort of not even things out, but sort of puts it in his favor, to be honest here. 17 or 4 balls, wanting to get another 8 here, and I think is what Destroyer would be looking to get here. But here's the first wicket of the second innings, and obviously we have seen Fleming get out to that pull shot, towards the deep fine leg area. One common thing, Harry, whenever we've seen, teams sort of, defending a target, I think we've always seen that fielder towards the deep fine leg, and a deep gully area, to be honest, because I think that's where most of the players tend to hit, because most of the bowls are bowled on the leg side. And again, if it's anything short of a length, they would want to take their chances.
Yeah, no, absolutely as well. Just like that, Destroyer's got himself up to 23. One more 6 would finish it, and that he does. It's 29 off the over in the end. Destroyer He will take the victory in our final game of the round robin format. Danger Zone 24, definitely not enough in the end. A fantastic batting display to finish it off from Destroyer. And, well, Sahil, that is how things are pretty much clocked in with that one. We've got our top four decided. We have to say goodbye, of course, to Samir Man and Raj. And we have to, well, congratulate, of course, Destroyer, the winner of that last game there. He may even get himself in towards first place. But that does, in fact, with that win, even if it's not first, he has locked in at least second. Him and Danger Zone will be sitting up towards that one there in the finals next week. And Sahil, well, 5 days of round robin action. We'll have one more for the finals to decide the winner of ECPL in 2023. It's been a crazy ride so far.
Absolutely. Very much looking forward to it, Harry, because obviously there's too much effort that all of these players have put in. And I think now we've, come to that business end of the tournament where, it's all about that prize money, because obviously 8,000, 5,000, 3,000, 2,000, 1,500. So obviously it's everything to play for here. And obviously, the player who finishes the finals on top is obviously going to walk away with $8,000. But now is when it gets very interesting, because now, the kind of positions that they would stand in, I think that would really reflect the amount of that money that they're going to walk away with as well. So looking forward to it. Here's where it gets interesting.
Absolutely, as we do get a chance to look at our leaderboard after the finals of those games, and that is where it sits after all 10 from all these players. So Destroyer actually does leapfrog Danger Zone at the end there to finish in first place overall. Danger Zone in second with 6 and 4, and then Mahara and Deepti 5 and 5. They'll be sitting third and fourth, and of course Sanaya Man and Raja Ryan 4 and 6 apiece. And even looking at this, and even for the 2 players that missed out, there is absolutely no difference from first down to 6. There is only 2 wins between those sides, which means for the final 4 teams that'll be playing next week in the finals, you really don't have someone that you on paper go, okay, that is the dominant player. They're the ones that are going to be winning this tournament. It really is still anyone's game.
Absolutely. And as you mentioned, right, this entire round robin stage was very, very, very tight. If you look at it from that standpoint, number one team, against the number 6 team, I think there's only difference of 2 wins there. But then again, this even shows the kind of quality all of these players bring to the table. We saw some record setting, getting set up today. And I think we are going to see, another set of records, being created during the playoff stage as well. So looking forward to it, Harry.
Absolutely. And we will be seeing you all next week. Same day, same time. Well, currently it's 12:13 a.m. in the morning for myself. I know the boys in New Zealand that are running the show in production, it's 2:13, so they're looking to go to bed. And I'm going to be the same. I reckon I'm going to be doing exactly what my cat is doing at the moment, and that is going for a decent snooze. So thank you guys for all coming in. It's been a pleasure. That's the round robin stages done. We'll see you next week for the finals. This is ECPL 2023. Harry and Sahil signing off. Have a good one.
A chance for the batting line up to display their fine set of skills. A good opening stand will be the key here. Good show by the fielders. Timing excellent, batsman in great form here, and that's another huge 6. Racing over the edge as this corker of a game draws to a conclusion. That shot would have made me proud if I'd hit it.